ज्वाइन करेंगे, जहां तक उम्मीद है। यूट्यूब का ऑन हो गया।
आ रहा है ना, द मीटिंग इज बीइंग लाइव स्ट्रीम।
हम्म।
तुम्हें सर वीडियो का जो यूआरएल है ना, वो मनोज सर को देना, तो वो ग्रुप पे भी पोस्ट कर देंगे।
सुमित सर, यूट्यूब की लिंक डालना है उस पर, ऑफिशियल व्हाट्सएप ग्रुप पे।
हाँ सर, 1 मिनट दे रहा हूँ।
ओके। सर चैटिंग का ऑप्शन सभी के लिए ओपन कर रखा होगा ना आपने?
सभी के लिए कर रखा है मैंने।
सर आप देखते रहिए, पार्टिसिपेंट में वो सर कभी ज्वाइन कर लेंगे, पता नहीं चलेगा यार सर।
सर के
देख रहा हूँ, मैं देख रहा हूँ।
सर किसी सर ने करा है? नहीं नहीं, नहीं करा है सर।
नहीं,
सर ये
नहीं किया
एडमिन
है।
नहीं
कौन है
करा।
यार सर, एडमिन? सर ये एडमिन डाउट हो रहा है बार बार मेरे को यार सर।
ठीक है सर, अब नाम से हमें पता थोड़ी चल पाएगा।
हाँ वैसे वो नाम से ज्वाइन करेंगे यार।
हाँ, और हमें तो वैसे ही 6 बजे से कार्यक्रम स्टार्ट है ना। वेट।
हाँ अभी, हाँ अभी 6 बजे भी नहीं है सर, मुझे लगता है वो डॉट टाइम पे स्टार्ट ज्वाइन करेंगे।
सर आपकी सारी बातें रिकॉर्ड हो रही है यूट्यूब पे।
हाँ यार सर, अरे यार सर तो गड़बड़ है। तो वो अभी आपको इस लाइव स्ट्रीमिंग स्टार्ट नहीं करना था सर यार।
नहीं, वैसे भी हो गया अब 6 o'clock। हम स्टार्ट कर ही लेंगे, है ना, लोगों को ज्वाइन कराना।
इनको छोड़ के बाकी को परमिट कर दूं?
बट सर वी शुड वेट फॉर।
आई थिंक एडमिन को भी अभी तो आप कर दो, क्योंकि वी डोंट नो कि कौन है एडमिन से।
चलो
हाँ
ठीक है सर, एडमिट कर
एडमिन,
देता हूँ सबको।
एडमिन को एक को एडमिट कर दो सर आप अभी। और उनसे पूछ लेंगे ना यार वो चैट बॉक्स में कि
क्यों, परमिट कर दूं सर कि नहीं?
एडमिन को कर दो सर परमिट, देखते हैं कौन है, तो अगर लगेगा तो रिमूव कर
मैं
देंगे।
सारे
नहीं,
परमिट कर देता
बाकी
हूँ
लोगों
सर।
को भी कर दो, सबको अलाउ कर दो। 6 बज गई है
अलाउ
बिल्कुल।
अलाउ ऑल।
सर ने ज्वाइन कर लिया है शायद।
हाँ सर ज्वाइन कर लिया।
सर ने ज्वाइन कर लिया, यस।
ज्वाइन कर लिया।
Sir, shall we start then?
मैम जस्ट 1 मिनट।
Okay, sir. Sure, sir.
सुमित सर, प्लीज गिव द राइट्स टू सर
सर
ऑल्सो।
सर सर को दे दिए राइट्स अपन ने।
वेरी गुड इवनिंग सर।
इवनिंग।
वेरी गुड इवनिंग सर।
गुड इवनिंग सर।
गुड इवनिंग। कितने लोग
गुड
हैं?
इवनिंग सर।
सर 70+।
अरे वाह, वेरी गुड।
सुमित सर सबको एडमिट करते जाना आप प्लीज।
यस सर।
Manoj sir, I think drop a message to WhatsApp group that sir has also joined,
यस
so
यस
we
यस
are
यस।
about to start the
यस
event.
ड्रॉपिंग ड्रॉपिंग।
यस सर, यस।
Manoj sir, I believe more than 350 participants have registered.
550.
550.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Anil sir, good evening.
Good evening.
Sir, I am principal here, Dr. Manish Srivastava.
Mhm.
And, our chairman Shri Vinod Kumar Agarwal sir would like to join this program. Unfortunately, he is traveling, so he has sent his message. So we would like to show his message.
So, Mr. More than 100 participants, I think, are there. So, should we start the program?
Yes, sir, you can start.
Rajshri Madam,
Anil sir, may we start program or we wait for some time?
No, we'll start because I have got some other things also after.
Right. So in the meantime, most probably you all will join. Right, Manoj sir,
yes, sir.
please
Yes, sir.
start.
Rajshri Madam, please start the program.
Yes, sir, with due permission, sir. Yes.
Okay.
A very good evening to one and all. With immense pleasure and pride, I, Rajeshri Sahu, extend a warm welcome to the Atal sponsored 6-day online faculty development program on research application on machine learning and Internet of Things, organized by the Department of Computer Science and Engineering, Chameli Devi Group of Institutions, Indore, from 8th of September to 13th of September 2025. Atal Innovation Mission and AICTE Training and Learning Academy has always strived to nurture innovation, research, and capacity building among academicians. In line with this vision, this online FDP is designed to equip faculty members with the latest insights, advanced technology, and innovative practice in the field of research application on machine learning and Internet of Things. We are privileged to have among us eminent academicians, industry experts, and distinguished guests whose presence will certainly enlighten and inspire us throughout the 6 days of academic enrichment. On behalf of Chameli Devi Group of Institutions, I heartily welcome our respected Principal Sir, Dr. Manish Srivastava, for his constant encouragement and visionary leadership. Our Honorable Chief Guest, Professor Anil Shashrabudhe Sir, we are truly honored to have you among us, sir. I also welcome all distinguished academicians, eminent researchers, faculty colleagues, and enthusiastic participants across the country. This online FDP aims to foster academic excellence, knowledge sharing, and collaborating learning in emerging areas of computer science and engineering. It promises to be a journey of knowledge sharing, collaboration, and professional growth. I am confident that each of us will carry back valuable learnings and experiences that will significantly enrich our teaching and research practices. Once again, I extend my heartfelt welcome to all of you. Let us begin this program with zeal, enthusiasm, and the spirit of learning. To begin this inaugural session, I would like to invite our Atal FDP coordinator, Dr. Manoj Agarwal sir, to deliver the welcome address and set the tone of this program. Sir, please.
Thank you, ma'am. Honorable Chief Guest, respected dignitaries, esteemed speakers, dear participants, and my dear fellow colleagues. A very good evening to all of you. It gives me immense pleasure to extend a warm and heartfelt welcome to each one of you to this Atal-sponsored 6 days online faculty development program organized by the Department of Computer Science and Engineering, Chameli Devi Group of Institution, Indore, under the esteemed guidance of AICTE's Atal Academy. The theme of our FDP, integration of AI, machine learning, and IoT for smart applications, is not only timely but also critical in today's rapidly evolving technological landscape. Over the next 6 days, we will dive deep into the intersection of AI, ML, and IoT domains that are driving innovations across industry, transforming how we interact with machines, data, and the world around us. This program brings together eminent experts from premium institutions and industry, including IIT Indore, Triple ITDM Jabalpur, DAVV Indore, and industry leaders from Persistent System Limited, Paytm 197 Communication Limited, Cleartel Technologies, Robotronics Engineering Private Limited, Infobins Indore, Pfizer Technologies, and even global voices from UK like British Broadcasting Company and University of Great Manchester, UK, exploring vital topics like IoT data analytics, deep learning, smart devices, and AI-driven manufacturing. Their insights will help bridge the gap between the academic theory and the real-world implementation. We are truly honored to host such a rich blend of academia and industry where research meets application and national expertise meets international innovation. More than 500 participants registers for this online FDP, reflecting enthusiastic nationwide participation, educators and professionals from across different states of India joining the program, showing a diverse representation from regions such as Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra, Tamil Nadu, UP, Karnataka, Kerala, Gujarat, West Bengal, Rajasthan, Andhra Pradesh, and many other states of India. This wide geographic involvement highlights the growing interest in academic and professional development across the country and the success of Atal FDP initiative in reaching educators from every corner of India. I take this opportunity to thank AICT and Atal Academy for their continued support and vision in empowering faculty across the country. A special note of gratitude to our management and leadership at Chameli Devi Group of Institution for their constant encouragement and facilitation. To our participation, your enthusiasm and eagerness to learn are what makes such program truly meaningful. I encourage you to interact, question, explore, and collaborate throughout these 6 days. Let this be a journey not just of acquiring knowledge, but also of building networks and shaping future research directions. In conclusion, I once again welcome all of you and hope this FDP will be a truly enriching and transformative experience for each one of us. Thank you once again.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your encouraging words and for guiding this initiative with your constant support and vision. I now take the privilege of inviting our respected principal, sir, Dr. Manish Srivastav, sir, to address the gathering and share his valuable insights. Sir, please.
Thank you, ma'am. Respected Dr. Anil Sahasbudre, sir, dear faculty members, resource persons, and participants. It is my great pleasure to welcome all to the Atal FDP organized by the Chameli Devi Group of Institution with the support of AICT. We feel truly honored to have Dr. Anil Sahasbudhe, sir, Chairman of NBA, as our chief guest for the inaugural session. Sir, your guidance, contribution in improving the quality of higher education in India inspire all of us. The purpose of this FDP is to help teachers learn new ideas, tools, and methods so that we can make our teaching more effective and useful for the student. In today's fast changing world, such programs are very important for keeping education updated and meaningful. To all participants, I encourage you to take active part in the session and make the best use of this opportunity for your growth and for the benefit of the student. Once again, I welcome you all and wish the FDP great success. Thank you. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat.
Thank you, sir, for your inspiring words and for motivating us to excel in the field of research and academics always. We also have a very special video message from our Honorable Chairman, sir, Shri Vinod T. Agarwal, sir. Can we have the video, please?
Yes. मैम इसमें
Not
आवाज
audible.
नहीं आ रही।
Manoj sir, please check your system sound setting. Sir, it is not audible.
Namaskar.
Should I share, sir? Manoj sir?
Yes, Radhesham sir, you may.
Yes, sir.
Namaskar, respected Dr. Anil Shasbudhe sir, distinguished dignitaries, faculty members, and participants. On behalf of Chameli Group of Institution, it is my privilege to extend a warm welcome to all of you at the Atal Faculty Development Program funded by AICT. We are honored to have Dr. Anil Shasbudhe sir, Chairman of NBA, as the chief guest for this inaugural ceremony. Your presence adds immense value to this program, which aims to enhance the teaching learning process and promote innovation in education. I also welcome all our resource persons and participants who have joined us from different institutions. We believe that the session planned over the next few days will provide deep insights and practical knowledge to strengthen academic excellence. Once again, I extend my heartfelt welcome to everyone and look forward to a fruitful and engaging program. Thank you. Namaskar, respected Dr.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your, we are really grateful for your words. It is indeed an honor and privilege to have among us the stalwart in the field of education and research, Professor Anil D. Shashabudhe sir, a visionary academic leader as the chief guest of this FTP. He is the chairman of National Educational Technology Forum, chairman of EC National Assessment and Accreditation Council NAC, and chairman of NBA. He has completed his mechanical engineering in 1980 from Karnataka University and his master's and PhD from IISc Bangalore. In between, he has brief instincts of working as scientific officer in IISc in 1983 and engineer training in Tata Consulting Engineers before starting his teaching career in the newly started Northeastern Regional Institute of Science and Technology, Itanagar, Arunachal Pradesh, and again in IIT Guwahati from 1995 onwards. He has held several academic research and administrative positions at Northeastern Regional Institute of Science and Technology, IIT Guwahati, College of Engineering Pune, and AICT as chairman. He joined AICTE as chairman in the year 2015. He has been an architect of reforms in technical education at AICTE, which include mandatory student induction and internship, faculty certification, and Atal faculty development programs, creating India's first ever MOOCs platform, Swayam, examination reforms, innovation movement, series of hackathons, Indian knowledge system, new funding schemes for supporting students, faculties, and institutes. He has been associated with several professional society and is a fellow of ISTE, IE, IET, and INAE. He is a recipient of Praj in Entrepreneurship Award 2011, Jeevan Gaurav Puraskar Lifetime Achievement Award 2019 of MIT World Peace University Pune, Mahatma Gandhi Leadership Award 2019. It is an honor and privilege to have you among us today, sir. We are really grateful to you. I would like to request sir to kindly address the gathering and enlighten us with your thoughts. Sir, please.
Good afternoon. In fact, almost good evening.
Good evening,
Thank
sir.
you,
Very good evening.
Rajeshri, for that long introduction. Good evening. Good evening. Dr. Manish Srivastava, Principal of the MLE Group of Institutions. Dr. Manoj Agarwal, who is
Good
the
evening, sir.
Faculty Coordinator for the Atal FDP, which has been allotted by AICTE for conducting in your institution, and where more than, as you said, 500 plus candidates, faculty from different institutions have registered, and the number has been growing from 100 to 150, etc. So I think most of them have shown keen interest from different states. Maharashtra, Karnataka, Kerala, and many other states. And resource persons which you have drawn from different institutions, including from UK, which you mentioned earlier, both from industry as well as academicians from different institutions. Locally, you have institutions like IIT Indore. You have drawn expertise from them as well. I think this is really wonderful that FDP, which is organized on a very important topic such as research applications in machine learning and IoT. These are all buzzwords for the last about a decade or so. AI and ML have taken deep roots in variety of engagements, in variety of applications, and so also is the Internet of Things. So you have combined machine learning with Internet of Things so that teachers who have graduated long ago in the field of machine learning, artificial intelligence, as well as Internet of Things. In fact, if you look at the kind of applications that are slowly coming up, they are in many major areas. Let me start with application that is going to be there in the field of agriculture, which is the backbone for Indian economy in terms of number of people who are employed in the agriculture is very large number. And therefore, supporting our farmers through the use of latest technologies is very, very important. What is it that the machine learning can do? We have different types of crops. We have crop patterns, which we studied in our high school, Rabi crop, and then followed by that Kharif crop. And then some people will grow sugarcane, paddy, variety of fruits, that means horticulture products. So in which season, which product you can grow is a very important input, which based on the previous knowledge, using artificial intelligence and machine learning, all that can be acquired as a part of the knowledge base and can be given as a guidance to our farmers, then whose income can become double, triple. We can also have what type of fertilizers are to be used, insecticides are to be used. And therefore, Government of India last year announced one of the centers of excellence of AI in agriculture in IIT Ropar. I think many of you must be aware. And it is in the form of hub and spoke. Although the major activity is going to be done by IIT Ropar, there are many institutions who are attached, associated with that. And those who are still not, they can write to them and find out whether somewhere you can also pitch in order to participate in this whole process. This is the most important application that of in agriculture. In education also, there can be tremendous opportunity in terms of using machine learning and IoT by variety of things like, for example, in a class of 60, a teacher is teaching in a classroom and some of them students are attentive, some are not. By scanning the entire classroom, the eye movements, the hand movements, and the manner in which they are reacting, I think one can detect who is actually interested in learning, who is not. And someone is not interested means either the class is boring and he is not showing interest, or he is not interested in the subject and we are forcefully making him to sit. So identifying through the reactions of the students in the classroom using machine learning and also scanning the entire set of pictures that are coming from the classroom, attentiveness of the student can be gauged. I think you don't have to take attendance. Attendance can become automatically. And all the 60 students' pictures, if they are already stored in the database, and if you swipe the entire class through a camera, it will detect who was present, was not present. That is attendance. and who is attentive, who is not attentive. I think all of this is possible in the education sector. And if someone is interested but not understanding, and therefore is getting disinterested, through the use of some preliminary tests and level of understanding of the student, one can have innovative methods of engaging the students, not merely giving one-way, what we call lectures, but how do we engage in terms of practical examples or experiential learning by taking the student to the laboratories, and how through tutorials we can excite a student or whom we can send to internship in a relevant industry. Thereby, the interest of the student is recharged or re-energized, and that also can be done in the sector of education. The third one, which is equally important in a country of our size of 1.4 billion population, is healthcare. Healthcare is one of those applications where cost cutting or very affordable healthcare can be provided to the remotest possible places. Maybe someone in Nagaland falls sick, or someone in Jammu Kashmir or Jharkhand or Chhattisgarh tribal area. For them to come to the nearest hospital itself takes sometimes few hours. And if they have to go to a specialized hospital like All India Institute of Medical Sciences, whether in Patna or in Guwahati or in Delhi or Chandigarh, I think the travel cost as well as the difficulties that they involve is tremendous. And many times they give up, thinking that this is not my cup of tea. जो भगवान ने दिया उसके हिसाब से हम चलेंगे, ठीक हो गया तो हो गया, नहीं हो गया तो हम भगवान के घर के मालिक हो जाएंगे, ऐसा सोच के छोड़ने वाले भी लोग होंगे. तो इन सब लोगों के पास हेल्थ केयर पहुंचाने के लिए today internet is there, so that we can scan the images, data can be uploaded. Doctors sitting in a very remote place can give prescription, and other technology like drone can be used for supplying the medicine. You can lift the required medicine, carry it to the place maybe 100 kilometers away, and then a patient can be cured. That is another area of where IoT, machine learning, and AI can be put to use. So I have started with agriculture, education, healthcare. These are three very significant things for any country for becoming what our minister has been talking about, Atmanirbhar Bharat and the Viksit Bharat. If India has to become Viksit Bharat, the last man, Antyodaya, the man who is at the remotest possible place, also should get the same facilities that we enjoy in Indore or Delhi or Mumbai. So that spirit is possible to be materialized only through the use of technologies like machine learning. And machine learning and AI can also, in a way, predict that in which area, because of the climate change that is happening, or incessant rains that are happening, or because of the flooding which is happening because of the cloud burst, what kind of likely diseases are going to spread. We can preempt that, and based on that, relevant supplies, whether it is food supplies, or whether it is fruits, or whether it is medicines, or even in some of the cases when the houses are washed out, we may have to supply clothing, pant, shirt, or kambal, blankets. So identifying all of this is a possible way of doing research in these areas, and these are very, very relevant. The last one which I would like to mention is that of the defense. Defense, especially, we all are aware, post-Pahalgam, the Sindoor operations which happened. I don't know whether you are aware or not, the drones which made a significant contribution towards the victory against Pakistan during those 4 days war is nothing but use of drones. And these drones did not come from a big company, which is a drone company or a robot company, or it did not come from institutions like IITs or NITs. but came from a tier 2 place in Orissa called as, the IG drones, a young 10-year-old company startup. They supplied the entire drones required for Operation Sindoor. That means there is huge opportunity in the domain of defense as well. It is also required that enemy has planted a lot of bombs in different places, and when the armed forces or their tanks are moving, these bombs may explode. So one has to take the pictures, maybe from the satellite, and then identify where the bombs are laid for killing our soldiers. Therefore, sending maybe a robot which can do one bomb detection, and also the robot which can dispose the bomb. You don't have to send human beings and risk their lives, but you can send robots for identifying and destruction of those bombs which are shattered all over the place, and then take care of the movement of the armed forces. So I think 4 major areas, starting from agriculture to education to healthcare to defense, we will have huge opportunity as far as the machine learning and AI is concerned. So all the participants, those who are here, and the resource persons must identify what are those tools, what kind of hardware and software is required for doing IoT. When I talked about agriculture, many a times we need to start the pump or shut off the pump. Excess water is also not good, both from the point of view of flooding of the field and then losing the crop, or wastage of water. And therefore, by scanning and then detecting how much quantity of water is required, the pump can be started remotely through the use of AI, ML, IoT devices, and you will be able to do it. There are many household applications. Many times we travel a long distance. Some of us in our own cars, we all know about autonomous vehicles. You get exerted if you are driving yourself. So you can put it in an autonomous mode and it will take from point X to point Y, and negotiating the traffic very smoothly. And also if you are getting into the house, before getting in, because it's a hot weather, you can switch on the AC, you can switch on the fan, and as soon as you enter, you get the relief. All these IoT devices were considered as though they are magic some 10, 20 years ago. I remember one of the famous magicians in Pune, Raghuvir Jadugar. He used to show this kind of thing, that as soon as you enter, the lights switch on, the fans switch on, AC will start working, the refrigerator will open and give you cold drink, or if you are interested in a cup of tea, microwave oven will start and then give you a hot cup of tea. These were considered almost like magic, which have become day-to-day appliances. So I remember more than about 15 years ago when I was traveling in US, the friend who was driving me, as soon as the house came, the garage gate automatically opened. I was surprised. What is this? We never imagined such a thing is possible, but then one can get in and park. And this is now no more only in the advanced countries, but even in our country, we are able to do it. We have applications of like burglary, thefts to be avoided, or women security is also very important. So if you have devices which are planted in terms of cameras located in different places, you have the crime record of the criminals available. If someone is suspiciously moving around, one can immediately give an alarm to the nearest possible police thana. Police can come there and safety of women can be ensured. I think AI, ML, along with IoT has, as I said, I gave some typical examples, but there could be hundreds of such examples possible. And we can really empower our citizenry by way of providing them the support system such that the life of people can become easier, smoother, happier, and that is what is the spirit of making use of technology. I'm very happy that this particular research applications in ML and IoT is awarded to you by AICTE. All the experts will certainly give you lots of inputs. They will also take classes by which you will learn a great deal. Along with that, as inquisitive students, well, although all faculty are faculty members, no doubt, they are teachers, but here in the FDP, you are all students. So in the true spirit of student, whatever you don't understand, unhesitatingly ask the resource persons. And no one will think that, oh, what a simple thing you don't know. I don't think that attitude will be there with the resource persons. They will take every question in stride and try to explain in the best possible manner. Thereby, when these teachers who are attending this 1 week program of FDP, when they go start their own teaching in their own classes, take the valuable lessons that they have learned from here, and then empower our next generation of students who in turn will become both employable, and some of them may become entrepreneurial and create their own startups, which will make our economy to grow. As you all know, we have already moved from 10th largest economy to 4th largest economy. In a year or two, we will be third. And by 2047, when we are visualizing ourselves to be Viksit Bharat, we may be number 2 or number 1. And that is the spirit of movement. And Prime Minister, in the last about a week or so, in different platforms, Independence Day speech, program in Varanasi, as well as when he met 81 teachers who were given Best Teacher Award, India's talent, from school education to higher education to skill. 81 of them were invited to the Prime Minister's house and he talked to them. He gave a clarion call in all these 3 platforms that we should start using Swadeshi. About 100 years ago, Mahatma Gandhi started the Swadeshi movement boycotting the textile mill cloth coming from UK and supported our own artisans, craftsmen. चरखा लेके खुद भी वो कपड़ा बना रहे थे और बाकी ऐसे कपड़ा बनाने वालों के कपड़े पहनकर हम हमारे देश की इकोनॉमी को सुदृढ़ बनाने के लिए कार्य कर रहे थे. That was the spirit of Swadeshi. And that same Swadeshi spirit, 100 years down the line, because of a variety of reasons, we have all been watching drama in the last about fortnight plus. Trump has been trumpeting, sometimes saying that I stopped the war between India and Pakistan, which is not the truth. Pakistan came kneeling down asking for stopping attack on them. But they are the ones who had created Pahalgam, and therefore they had to be penalized, which we were doing it. And we would have stopped on day 1. But they started instigating us and we continued. So that is one very important thing. Then because we are not accepting the lie, there have been sanctions indirectly of putting tariff of 25% increase to 50% and threatening that it will be 100%. We stood our ground and said we don't care, we will find new markets, and therefore producing ourselves, consuming ourselves. And that is this Swadeshi spirit, again, is to be invoked 100 years down the line. And then our GDP automatically, which is growing at 7.8% in the last quarter, can become 8%, 10%, and we can become the largest economy of the world on one side. On the other side, the kind of technology we used indigenously, whether it is missiles, whether it is other defense equipment, we have been started to manufacture ourselves, which we were importing all the time. So we are now producing also aircrafts, LCA. We are also likely to have very many different, what we call these 5th generation aircraft, the corresponding engines manufactured in India. So on one side, we are developing technologies of all variety. we had missed the semiconductor bus. We became IT superpower, but in terms of chip design, chip manufacturing, we were lacking. We have picked up that also. There are industries which are being set up for manufacturing what we call chips. Semiconductor industry is growing. We have quantum mission. All these are helpful for our IoT devices, our AI ML, or our mobile phones or laptops. So I think in all-round manner, India is developing. Let us become part of that in the spirit of Swadeshi movement and becoming Atmanirbhar and Vikasit Bharat by 2047. And that is the clarion call of the Honorable Prime Minister. If we all seriously work on those, I'm sure in another about 5 years' time, we will show our results. Already in terms of innovation, we moved from 81st position to 39th position. In another 10 years, we'll be in the top 10, maybe top 5. And all of this is possible provided our faculty learn, which is a spirit of lifelong learning, and take it back to the classroom. With this, I congratulate all of the teachers who have been participants and resource persons for having helped this institute of Chameli Devi group of institutions and then giving your best input for the best output. Thank you. Namaskar. Jai Hind.
Thank you, sir. It is always a pleasure hearing you. On behalf of CDGI, we are truly grateful to you, sir, for your profound and inspiring address. Your words will definitely guide us throughout this complete online FDP. Coming to the end of inaugural session, I would now like to request Professor Radhesha Macholia, sir, for the vote of thanks. Sir, please.
Thank you, ma'am. A very warm good evening to all of one. First of all, I want to thank Dr. Anil Sahasrabudhe sir, Honorable NBA person, and for accepting our invitation and join us for this inauguration session and giving this wonderful address that is highly relatable with the content of the FDP. So thank you once again, sir, for accepting our invitation. Thanks to AICT to grant us this FDP, and with the help of Atal and AICT, we are able to organize this FDP programs, which will help all the faculty members throughout the nation to learn and gain some insightful information about this AI era. Thanks to our management, Honorable Chairman Sir, Honorable Vice Chairman Sir, Principal Sir, to encourage us always to organize these kind of events for the development of faculty fraternity to improve the teaching and learning process. That is highly recommendable by NEP also. And thanks to all the participants who have joined from all over the nation for this FDP program. And I hope that during these 6 days, learning will be highly impactful for your future journey. And I wish that these 6 days learning will be very knowledgeable, very joyful learning will be there, that can be definitely rooted to our students also, so that they can also learn these kind of things whatever we are learning from the industry experts, so that we can bridge this industry academia gap, and we can definitely make a kind of significant impact in improving the teaching quality learning. So thanks to all the participants for joining the inauguration session.
Well, was it audible or not?
Yes, sir. It
Yes,
was
sir,
audible.
it was audible.
Because I just was seeing the comments and someone said not audible. That's why I just wanted to check.
No, sir. It was perfectly
Very
audible,
good.
sir.
Okay. Okay. Let me take leave and all the very best for all of you.
Right.
Thank you
Thank
so
you
much,
very
sir.
much,
Thank you,
sir.
sir. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you so much, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you everyone for joining the inaugural session. We will begin the first technical session in next 5 minutes.
So, hello everybody, am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
And
sir. Perfectly audible.
can you
Yes,
see
sir.
my screen?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Oh, so the screen is also okay, great. So all set. I guess I can start. So
Sir, we'll just start in. Yes, sir. We can start.
Yes, sir. You can
I
start.
think
You
we
can
can start there and skip that introduction section because we are already a bit late. You got another speaker lined up around 8 p.m. I guess.
Sir, it
Yes,
will take
sir.
only. Sir, it will take only 2
Sir,
minutes, sir. Please.
2 minutes, sir.
All right, please go ahead.
Rashmi ma'am, please
Okay.
go ahead.
Yes. For the first technical session, we have among us Dr. Atul Gupta, sir. He's a professor of computer science and engineering at IIT DM Jabalpur. Currently serving as the convener, computer center and co-coordinator, design and innovation center. He holds a PhD from IIT Kanpur and MTech from IIT Roorkee. His research spans machine learning, software engineering, and NLP, and over 70 publications in reputable venues. He has guided 12 PhDs and 24 MTech students. One of his papers received the ACM India Test for Time Award at ISEC 2024. He has served multiple terms at the head of Computer Science Department at IIT DM Jabalpur. He has also served as co-principal investigator for the EICT Academy at IIT DM Jabalpur during phase 1. He's leading the development of institution ERP system fusion with several modules already deployed. It is an honor and privilege to hear you, sir. I would like to request Dr. Atul Gupta, sir, to continue with the technical session. Sir, please.
So thank you very much for this a bit longer introduction. I think I have heard Shastra Buddha Sahab, and it was great to hear him regarding the recent developments, how AI and machine learning is making the difference, and how India is poised to exploit the opportunities that are being created, and to enhance our economy and reach to next high. That's what the targets are. And I'm happy to talk to all of you. I can see many PhD also like in the audience. That's wonderful. And then there are all other are like definitely would like to learn about how we can make use of machine learning and solve problems of logistics and eminence. So today, my talk is based on real-time IoT data analytics using machine learning. Primarily, it is going to be a machine learning introduction. So the session objectives are that what are IoT systems and why we need machine learning. What is supervised machine learning? What are the types of supervised machine learning? What is the connection between these types? Some of you might already be knowing like the two types, regression and classification. And how do we evaluate our solutions in terms of when we implement using these supervised machine learning algorithm? And when we try to apply it to this machine learning in a traditional style, that what difficulties that we face in IoT systems. So what are the challenges here and how we effectively mitigate those challenges and come out as flying colors. So what is IoT? An IoT system basically consists of three kind of devices or arrangements, we can say. One of them is like IoT devices. And then these IoT devices are connected and exchanging information. So there may be gateways or may not be gateways. Like, so gateways are optional. They kind of translate the data, incoming data or outgoing data, and route this communication between devices. And then services, which are nothing but the kind of processing, data processing, which will be required dealing with the data that is coming to the coming from IoT devices, and we need to send back to IoT devices for controlling purposes. Now, since IoT consists of like IoT devices, so what can qualify to be an IoT device? So a IoT device is basically a physical object or physical device that has got three essential uh, uh, conditions to satisfy, and then it qualifies to be an IoT device. One is like at least one sensor and or actuator, right? So basically, the data should come from or data should be delivered to. So sensing and actuation is kind of compulsory part of the IoT device. Then it must have an identity so that it can be clearly identified in the network. And we can label the data that is coming from the device, and we can send to the data through this device. So definitely it should have an identifier, and it should be able to communicate, right? Without communication, there is no IoT device, which we are going to term that, right? It is going to communicate to send the data to either to sensor or getting the data from sensors and sending to some other device for processing. Now, since IoT devices can span in multiple dimensions, like they can be very elementary, like just RFID tag, and that can be very complicated, just like autonomous vehicles. So how this IoT devices getting this complexity? And essentially, we can put this complexity in three dimensions. One is how much sensing is being done by the system, right? By the device, and how much actuation or so sensing is like getting inputs, and actuation is like delivering output. And then the device is also capable of processing and communication. So how rich this device in terms of like processing the data. So based on these three dimensions, we can rate how complex the device can be. This is the example which is already suggested by Dr. Sasbudre, that the autonomous cars are making a lot of news, right? And that has been possible because it's itself is a kind of complete IoT device. In a sense, like it gets the data from various sensors deployed within the car. It also like do the routing and do the processing and take the decision, and then give back data to the actuator. So it got the sensors, it got the actuator, it got the onboard intelligence built in. And all this is possible that because ML is an integral part of making this happen. So there are ML algorithms getting executed within this device and making this device happen. Now, whenever like we got IoT devices, there are going to be like real-time constraints, and that is why one of the objective of my talk, that we need to understand that it's just not the data is there with me and I'm going to label the data, I'm going to make the decision based on data, but this all has to be done within stringent constraints, which is like real-time constraints. Data is continuously coming up, and we have to analyze the data and possibly generate the data on the fly. So all these constraints makes these applications as real-time. Typically, IoT applications are real-time applications, and that's why one has to understand that how we can apply machine learning techniques, which in other application setting seems to be straightforward, but when it comes to like applying it to IoT devices, then there are challenges. Similarly, I have another example of like autonomous drone, again like an example of why it has logistical significance and imminence, as mentioned by Dr. Sasbudre, and the post-Sindoor period. And now people are looking for who can make those drones, who can deliver, who can do the surveillance, who can attack on the enemies or play a role in the defense on all sorts of things, right? In fact, these drones are becoming even more important than these fighter jets. And now all of us are convinced with the capability of these drones. And a few months before, there were a lot of progress in terms of drone, but only after Sindoor, the India has recognized the importance of having autonomous drone manufacturing and doing the indigenous stuff. So a machine learning perspective of problem solving is like that it requires a lot of data. So we need data to learn from. We'll see that why it is so. And then we use this learning for future problem solving. And since IoT generate a lot of data, then it looks like that IoT system and this machine learning is kind of match made in heaven. How true this is, that is what we are going to work it out. And I'm sure that this kind of discussions and considerations are going to be made throughout this course, where we'll see that how ML can be applied in solving these IoT problems and the success that we are going to enjoy. So what makes the IoT different than conventional domain where we apply machine learning? The one thing is that the data is coming continuously, and the data might be noisy. There may be missing data, or data may come a little late because you might be expecting for. So all sorts of real world things can happen regarding the data that is coming in a real time, but have those issues. And the decision has to be made very quickly. So we cannot wait for a big deep neural network to process the data and generate the output in, let's say, days or hours. Rather than we want to get the output in milliseconds or within seconds or at most few minutes, right? So how this is going to perform? And then we have this other resource constraint which are associated with IoTs. That IoT, these are the small devices with limited battery power, with limited memory and limited compute that is possible. How can you apply this machine learning, which is typically compute heavy applications, compute intensive applications? They can run on IoT devices. So the solution is going to be somewhat like we need kind of tiny fast processing steps where we can find or learn useful machine learning patterns and which can help to solve the intended problem. So kind of like tiny ML, if we can work out and can figure out that we don't deal with a lot of data, we deal with selected data, and we do the processing at the selected locations, right? So all these considerations are going to be very important, and the data, as it suggests, that it may come a little late or it may be missing or noisy. So let us focus on first learning the basics of machine learning, because that is what we are targeting to apply and solve an IoT problem. So why we require problem solving using machine learning? I believe that many of you might already be knowing it. And since machine learning is making so much of news now, so why may not be a very good question to ask, but then how we apply machine learning and the basic working principles, which can be helpful when we target problem solving in the context of IoT, right? So in traditional context, we might be dealing with lot of data. So billions of records and all those kind of things that may be possible. But when it comes to IoT, you know that you got a limitation here, all sorts of limitations in terms of data processing capability, in terms of storage, in terms of time, real-time situation. So That's not going to work out that way. So what are the options that we are going to have to apply this or to adapt machine learning algorithms for solving IoT problems? So first, let us understand the machine learning in the most traditional way, and then we will try to customize or try to figure out that how we can adapt, what options we have, and how we can still make use of machine learning to the great extent to solve those problems. So why machine learning? That is the question, and with a very simple example, that is a handwritten digit recognition. I should be able to convince you that a traditional approach of solving this problem, that given a letter, like maybe this is an image of a handwritten character, handwritten letter, or handwritten digit, and you need to identify that what digit is written. And now you know that this is a difficult problem, because whatever logic we apply, if we start with a conventional logic, the algorithmic approach, that if this pixel is black and this pixel is black and this pixel is white, let's say if it is binary signal, that zero, either black or white, or a grayscale signal where it can take 0 to 255 values of pixel intensities, right? Then identifying which pixel is going to have which intensity value so that we can identify a handwritten digit, you will agree that it's not going to be a simple idea, because the digit can be written in many, many different ways, right? And all these are of the images of 4. So it is very, very hard, if not impossible, to write a program which is going to write, which is going to make use of if then else rules, like if this pixel is black and this pixel is black and this and rest of them are white, then this is digit 4. It's not going to happen, right? Because you know that there's lots of variability in this writing style, but then there are some pattern which is somewhere common across all these characters. So you know that this pattern is kind of hidden, and it varies from one handwritten digit to another handwritten digit. But definitely there is a pattern. So we adapt to this approach, and we try not to write algorithmic or use algorithmic approach, rather than use the data or the experience to learn this pattern. So basically, machine learning is a design of algorithm. We are going to go through a few algorithms where what we do is like we learn and we evaluate our performance of this learning, and then we go for improving this performance by having more data rather than relying on handcrafted rules. So this is what is in a nutshell a machine learning is. Now, the machine learning algorithms broadly can be classified into supervised machine learning, unsupervised, and then there are other categories. And under supervised, you can have a regression algorithm. The regression algorithm and then the classification algorithm, there is only one subtle difference between, otherwise the two kind of algorithms target similar problem to solve. The target is that what you want to predict or know about, right? If it is a kind of real number that you want to come with as an outcome, or if it is a nominal variable which can have few finite number of predetermined values, then it is going to be a classification example of classification algorithm. So for example, predicting the score will be a regression problem. Predicting the tomorrow temperature or humidity or whatever, like you know that varies a lot, and it can be in decimal numbers, so domain virtually gets to infinite, right? So regression is those kind of problem where we predict outcome as real numbers, and in the classification we predict outcome as few finite discrete values, right? So that's, for example, sentiments, like, so maybe positive sentiments or negative sentiments, maybe spam, if a mail is spam or non-spam. So it's kind of like two classification problem. So regression and classification are predominantly differentiated by the idea of what this target variable, which is like the prediction variable, is going to have. Right? If it is of a real number nature, then we are going to have a regression problem and regression algorithm to solve that problem. And then otherwise, like we will be using a classification problem. Now, in the supervised machine learning, the data that we have is kind of labeled data, right? That means we have got certain data which has got the problem as well as the solution. So it's kind of ordered pair, where like we got a problem and we got a solution. We got a match, we got a score of that match. We got another match, we got a score of that match. Third match and score. So based on this data, which is kind of past experience, right, label data, we are going to solve this problem, that we have got a new match coming up and we would like to predict the score of this new match. Now, if data, in certain cases, the data may not be a labeled data. So what kind of things that you can do? And all those kind of things that you can do here, they fall under the category of unsupervised machine learning. So predominantly, the techniques that falls under algorithms that fall under unsupervised machine learning is clustering, one of them, very popular one, where what you do is like you don't have the label. You don't need a label here because you want to group data based on certain similarities. So how do you group and how many groups will be resulting? So that's the kind of clusters, dividing the whole data into clusters. Right? Another example in unsupervised machine learning is association rule mining, where possibly we would like to know the association between objects rather knowing the label. And maybe like a byproduct of or outcome of this exercise is putting labels on this group. So first you make them group or associate them and possibly put the label. But in the association rule mining, what you do is like you take the data, unlabeled data, and find association if this data is some way correlated or associated, right? And then we have got this interesting class of machine learning algorithm which falls under other category, other in the sense like here we assume that we don't have the data at this point of time, but we generate data on the fly. So in the reinforcement learning kind of algorithm, we don't expect that the data is there upfront, but we generate data on the fly and we start making labels or making decisions based on that data. Maybe initially you make a wrong decision, so those decisions will be penalized, and this algorithm will orient itself in such a way so that it will try to reduce the penalty. And this is how slowly and gradually it will align its approach strategy in such a way so that the penalty will be reduced and will go to minimum. And after some time, we'll say that it has kind of trained in a reinforcement learning way. So we got clustering. Let's say there is an image, you can detect that it's like you can segment the image and you can identify there is an object, right? In association rule mining, there is very interesting class of problem, market basket analysis. Some of you already knowing it. And in reinforcement learning, I mean, it can be robot path planning or all those kind of things where we don't have the data as labeled. Maybe we don't have at all any data, but we start generating data and making decision and learn during this whole process. Now, application of regression learning, weather forecasting, you know that temperature or the humidity and all those like rainfall, all those are basically real numbers. So predicting these numbers or regression problems, stock market, autonomous vehicle, I mean, you need to like put the brake or you need to accelerate or rotate your steering. So how much, with degree of rotation, all these are basically real numbers kind of data. So that's why this is a regression kind of problem, right? Then moisture anomaly, I mean the soil property predictions, monthly sales and all that match scores. So all these are where the examples of regression problems. And in classification, you may have sentiment analysis. I mean, three outcomes, let's say, given let's say feedback, and you can label it either negative or neutral or positive or just two label or three label or few finite predefined label. Just like spam filters, spam and non-spam, so binary classification, will it rain today? Again, a binary question, yes or no, or how much rain? Then possibly like it is getting into a regression problem. Who will win the title among the competing teams? So you got well-defined number of outcomes, like these many teams, 16 teams or 32 teams, so, and one of them is going to win the title. So again, like this, predicting who will win the title is like here, this is a classification problem, right? An image of like whether a mammogram, like whether this contains a cancerous picture or it's normal, like it's a benign or it's the malignant, right? So based on the outcome, it is going to be categorized into one of the three categories. So again, like, and again, object detection, if you are looking for a particular kind of object before you already know it, right? Dog and cat, so you would like to know, or you have set of predefined number of objects and would like to know which object is there in the picture out of predefined number of objects. So then this is going to be a classification problem. So all these are classification problem. Given that, now we move to formulate a supervised machine learning problem, right? So for each specific problem, whatever a problem domain that we would be like considering, what we need here is like a lot of examples with the solutions, right? With known outcomes. So we need a lot of like label data. Again, like so this lot of has got a lot of implications also while we target machine learning, right? And gradually move, let's say, even better performance than you might have heard about, like deep learnings algorithms are outperform machine learning algorithms typically, but they require a large amount of data. Now, that is the catch here. Still, machine learning algorithms remain relevant, and the applications where we cannot afford to make use of a lot of data because of these kind of restrictions. So machine learning will still remain very relevant. Otherwise, if you look at the current present trends, then deep learning algorithms almost in all domains, all other domains, like they have outperformed machine learning algorithms because, but then they require a lot of data to get that kind of performance outcome. So here, in either case, we need some good amount of data, label data. And then what we are going to do is like we are going to learn a hypothesis function. Now, what is a hypothesis function here? We will call that as theta of x, right? X is going to be the input, and then y is going to be the output. So what we would like to know is like to compute this y given this x. So basically, we would like to know about this h theta, this function. If we know this function, then it will map to x and y. So what your problem is like input and output, x and y. So you got this examples or label data in form of this ordered pair x1, y1, in a sense. Sorry. And x2, y2, and x3, y3. So I'm going to use this terminology just for the sake of, and you got some number of examples. And from this, what you would like to know about that if X and Y are connected, because X is input and Y is output. So, and what you want to do is like you want to predict Y given X. So what you want to know is like a relation between X and Y. Y equal to something like S theta of X. Right now I'm writing S theta. Very soon it will be clear that why I'm using this term. But you know that we got Y and X, which is output, and this is the input. So a general formulation of the problem, and for that I will take an example. Let's say you're doing a course as a student and your final score in this course, I would like to predict your final score in this course, right? Now that final score, right now here, this Y is a binary outcome. Either you're going to fail or pass. But I may be interested also in knowing your score. And your score can be 82.5, right? Maybe in this course, or you failed or passed. So when you formulate this problem as this kind of like having this kind of target variable, which is the output variable, target or output variable, then you formulated this problem as a classification problem. But I can formulate this problem as a regression problem by having this like having numbers 68, 72, right, 82.5, and so on and so forth. So this column, which is like this attribute, which I want like to predict, the target attribute can take real numbers. And if this can take the real numbers, we are going to predict the real number eventually, because the hypothesis function that we are going to learn is going to predict the real number. And therefore, this problem will be a regression problem. For now, here, as given on the slide, this is formulated as a classification problem because we got two outcomes, fail and pass. So more precisely, it is formulated as a binary classification problem. Now you see, we got a number of inputs. One input is number of study hours, number of hours watching TV, number of social networking hours spent, maybe your earlier scores in your earlier schools, let's say 12th, 10th, your attendance, and maybe some other attributes, some other variables which are going to have impact on this Y variable. So what it is showing here that you got these many variables, and eventually your output or target variable is whether you're going to fail or you're going to pass. So in a sense, I would like to know Y as a function of X, very school age kind of application. And here I say this F is H theta. Why theta? Because it is going to be a function of theta, and theta is a parameter of the model, and that's why I replace this F by H theta. Else, this equation is very age-old application for you. You have learned this equation in your simple maths, right? Now here, this X is not just one X, but X is like multiple variables. So we can say X1, X2, X3, X4, and there can be any number of variables. Now this is the problem, that this X can be any number, and all these have some burden on the outcome. All these are influencing the outcome in certain ways, and we don't know that. So that is where we are going to formulate the problem, right? So please note the terminology, because I'm going to formulate this problem. So this superscript is stand for, this is a different example, this is second example, this is third example. So all superscript for the examples number 1 or the data number 1, number 2, number 3, because we need lot of data, right, which we are going to use for training. And typically what we do is like when we got data, so we partition data into two sets. One is going to be used for training, and the second part, the other part is going to be used for testing, because I can get at the same time that how my algorithm is going to perform. So what I do is like I do the training using a bigger part of the data, and for a smaller part, I will be used it for evaluation. How good was the learning, right? This is typical of machine learning, supervised machine learning. That we got a data, we divide it into two parts. So actually, learning is from one part, and then evaluation from the second part. Is exactly same as the way our student learn in the class. So what we do is like we give them examples which we are not going to ask in the exam. We are going to ask different questions in the exam, not exactly the same questions which we have told them in the class. If we give the same questions in the test as well, which we have given in the classroom, and if the students are performing good, that doesn't measure the learning. What it measure is like the student might have memorized that solution and simply reproduce that solution when you test it with the same question, right? So the generalization is the key for any machine learning model, and for our classroom learning also, it is the generalization, it is the test of their learning. So learning is only possible when evaluated independently, right? So what is going to happen? We got a data set, we divide into two parts, a bigger part for training and a smaller part for testing. This is what we are going to do. So until unless I specifically mention that, consider that whatever data we are using here while formulating problem, this is for the training purpose. So all these M example, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and all that M examples these are the training data, right? And we got the labels here, the Y's. So data is in the form X, I, Y, I form, and I goes from 1 to M. And this subscript are used for the specific input parameters, right? So there can be one parameter, there can be multiple parameters. For more complex machine learning problems or real problem solving, you will see that your X is going to be a feature vector, because it is going to consist of multiple inputs, right? Because all these inputs are going to influence in an obviously unknown way to the result, to the outcome. And that is what we would like to know, that what is this relation between the output variable and all those input variables, right? And that is the function that we are going to learn. So what we do is like we take the general supervised machine learning task is like we take the raw data, we extract the features, which is like x1, x2 that we call, right? And then put the label also. We require this label, right? So we need a label data. If the data set is not labeled, we will not be able to have like a supervised machine learning classifier or regression algorithm trained. So we need a label data here. And then we got a untrained model, which is typically representing the h theta of, that is the function, the mapping function that we are going to learn. And then after going through a round of data and updating the model parameters in order to ensure that we minimize the error during the learning, we get our model trained. So training of the model is a kind of like assigning weights. Here, for example, this model looks like a neural network model. So what it is going to have towards the end of the learning is like going to settle down on certain weights between these nodes, right? So all these edges will be having some specific weight, which is shown with different width arc here, and we say that this is the model train. We'll come to like this point how this is going to happen, and then we get a data query data. This is going to be different than the training data, and then it is going to give me this label. So we don't know the label. We pass it to this trained model and we get this label, right? This y hat of this predicted label, right? And then since we know the label, because the whole data is labeled, we have partitioned into like training data and test data. So for test data also we know the label, but we didn't pass here. Why? Because we want to test this trained model. So what we do is like we pass that without the label. The learned model predict the label. So we know the y, actual y, and we know the predicted value. So what we expect that if it is sufficiently trained, then this should be same or very close to same. This is what the whole idea behind the supervised machine learning task. So I have formulated this problem as a label data set consists of like m data, m label data, like with superscript, and the features. Each x might be a feature vector which have features x1, x2, which is like subscript n features, right? And the query instant finally, after training, we are going to use and assess the label of that, right? Predicted label of that. Now, let us take an example, right? The same example. And here, your final score in this course, and whether you're going to, this score in terms of whether you're going to pass or you're going to fail. So what we are going to do, as I said already, that we are going to learn a hypothesis function, this hypothesis function, in such a way so that our predicted value for all yi's corresponding to all yi's, they are going to be very similar to yi's, right? For the test data. And therefore the function that, now the question is, can this ideal function be learned? There must be some function which maps, but who knows about this function? Right? And there comes the idea like we have different algorithm because each of these machine learning algorithm chooses a different function to learn. And this is something very interesting, that this h theta is a kind of a predetermined function with unknown variable. I mean, the variables, the model parameters whose values are not known at initially. And what we would like to do, we would like to know about these model parameters and therefore specialize this whole function. But we need to choose a function. We can choose a linear function. Then it becomes a linear, let's say linear regression, right? Or we choose a polynomial function. So how we will know about like whether a linear function will fit nicely, is this the right function, or a polynomial or an exponential or any other function or a very hybrid kind of function? How would you know that how this h theta is going to be? And the answer is there is no way to know this, right? We can get certain heuristics by going through the characteristics of input data and how it matches to output with some intuitions and some experimentation, but exact function details is unknown. And that makes like we have got so many different machine learning algorithms because each of them differs the way it chooses the hypothesis function which need to be learned, right? And that's created a problem of, obviously, an inherent problem of bias and variance. Now, what is this bias and variance? See, if the function that you try to learn is too simple, right? It's not that complex because what we are trying to map is like y is a h theta of x. And since x can be a complicated, a very big feature vector, this function can be a complicated function, right? So if you are choosing a very simple function, maybe you are using an algorithm which is biased. So you'll see that. And if you're using too complex function, then possibly your functions variance is going, your algorithm variance is going to be high. High bias or high variance, both are kind of problem. So selecting the right function that can map the input and output in the most most efficient or most effective way, which provide the best performance, that is a challenge, right, throughout. And this is what you need to understand. So while you're going to use these algorithms for any IoT applications, you're going to have these options that which algorithms you are going to use. And you switch from one algorithm to another algorithm, and you are going to have like the different outcomes. Now that is going to be a challenge. That can you figure out upfront that if this particular machine learning model or algorithm is going to be better suited to your application, rather you try all and then choose one of them, right? So how would you know that which model or which algorithm, machine learning algorithm, is a better algorithm for your problem to get solved? This is one of the important lesson on learning that you have to have before you start applying machine learning. So we start with the linear regression, which is like is simplest of the regression algorithms. And the difference between all regression algorithms are going to be this hypothesis function. How do you choose hypothesis function? Rest of the process is going to be mostly same across all those algorithms. Similarly, for the classification also, this is going to be the same idea, that how do you choose, how do you decide which hypothesis function you're going to learn. So in the linear regression, which is a very simple idea, let us first for the sake of simplifying the whole idea, rather than considering all those x1, x2, x3, we will be only considering one x. So what typically it is showing here is y equal to fx, and x is being hours of study. So let me postulate here that your result is going to be based predominantly on one variable, which is hours of study. Though you know already that no, the results are influenced by many other things, right? Even if you try to enumerate all those variables, you may not be able to enumerate all those variables, right? So the problem is really complex. We start with a simplified version, and then we'll see that we can add that complexity without much of a problem, and we can deal with all that complexity also in the same way, the way we have handled complexity of having one input variable. So we got this problem formulated here as one input variable problem. So we got output variable is y, which is like the score marks, because this is a regression problem. So your marks is going to be not just the outcome as binary classification, but actual marks 50.5, 75, 35, or whatever like. So all these are like at a real scale and in the real scale. So we formulate this problem as a regression problem. So what we do is like we got a label data. So that means we got a data maybe from past batches, that we recorded this data, that how these past students which has passed out from this course earlier is made, how many hours of studies and how many marks they scored. So I can plot that 20 hours study, some student got this marks, some student got this marks, this marks. This is all past experience, like so learning from past data. So all these are nothing but the data, and I can plot because this is like one variable. So for plotting these two variable, one is output variable, one is input variable. In the two-dimensional is very straightforward. Anybody can do this. So we plotted this, and now we can see there is a pattern. Like as you increase the hours of study, your marks are increasing, right? Though there are certain other data which is not really goes exactly aligning with this hypothesis, but still there is some pattern that we can make it out. And in first instance, we can say that, yeah, there is some linear pattern or linear line, because it's a two-dimensional space, so we can fit a line here. And for this, what we can do is like we can compute this line. So there can be infinite many lines which can go through here, one line here, one line here, another here. Now, the idea here is to find the best line which fits here. Now, I am trying to fit a line here. You may think to fit a polynomial here, right? Depending upon how would you think that there may be a relation between hours of study and mass. In the most simple sense, we can assume a linear relationship, the most simple idea. And I can tell you, this most simple idea I have found to be very effective in practice. In many applications, it has been worked out that these linear regressions provide excellent results, right? Those sounds like very simple and naive idea, but then this has been the case that simple hypothesis works better many a times, right? So we got a simple hypothesis here that there is a linear relationship, and we would like to fit the line. Now, how to fit this line? This algorithm is going to be focused around finding that line. So how we can do, how can we find a line? So there are infinite many lines. So what we are going to do is first find out, if we find we have a line, then there will be some point on the line, but some point will deviate from this line, right? So let's say we got a vertical intercept, right? Some points are above the line, some points are. So for any x here, 30 hours, right? If this is the actual data, but this line suggests the predicted value is this. For, let's say, this example, this is the actual value of y here because we got a data, but predicted values come out to be this much for this much hour of study. So you see, we got a predicted value here and we got a actual value, and therefore we got a difference. And this difference is definitely, we can say that this is an error. What we wanted is that our prediction should be same as actual data. So we should have predicted this actual value, whereas we predicted, because of this line, assuming that this is the best fit, we predicted this point, and therefore this part is an error. So what we are going to do, we are going to compute this error, E1, E2, E3, all these error component, which is nothing but the y-intercept. For all I points, I will go from 1 to m. Let's say there are m data points which we are using for training. Then we are going to compute this error component along. This is the predicted value, as theta of x is nothing but a equation of the line. So you know that y equal to mx plus c. This is like something like mx plus c, right? Here it is x is like this one and c is the y-intercept, right? So you know that if this is the line, then this is c and the slope is m. So this is the line. So the function of this line, which is h theta, is a equation of line. So it's a very simple, right, idea here. The function is a linear function, a function of line in 2D space, and which we can model as mx plus c, right? Or in other terminology, which I'm going to use when I'm going to increase the number of variables, I can say that it is theta 1 x1. This is like, let's say x is x1, the first variable, or right now it's the only variable, and plus theta 0. So I'm going to use this terminology because I can deal with more number of x without much of a problem. So same idea, same principle or terminology can be scaled to any number of variables, any number of input parameters that we see, right? So this is the equation of line. Right? This is what we need to know. And while we consider any line, we get an error, right? you can draw any line, you will find that no line will pass through all the data points. So that's absolutely fine. So we know that it is going to be non-zero errors. Some error might be positive, some error might be negative. So what we are going to do, we are going to square this difference, right? And therefore, what we are going to do is we are going to write this as a squared function, right? So as theta of xi is the predicted value, that is the y hat, and yi should be the actual value. So y predicted I and y actual I, and the difference is, and since this can be positive or negative depending upon if the point is above the line or below the line. So what we do is like we square it in order to add all these numbers. And if we don't do that, then you know that it is going to cancel out each other and we will be getting a wrong answer here. So we need to make this all error added up. So square of error, and simply take the sum of square of error and divide by m, because there are m data points. So your error function, which we call as cost function, because you are going to minimize the error, you're going to minimize the cost, right? And this is how it is going to be so we are going to minimize this cost function. So that means we are going to learn h theta of x, this function, hypothesis function. And right now for simple one variable problem, it is this. But for multi-variable problem, the feature vector, you got n input parameter, it is going to be extended with theta to x2 and still remain the same idea, and it will work for a high dimensional space, input space, right? So how we can solve this problem? There are two methods to solve this problem. One is like using some conventional mathematics. Using matrix algebra, we can solve this in an optimum way, which can be shown. But the most interesting solution sounds like applying AI, and which is like a gradient descent approach. A gradient descent is like a heuristic approach, where what we do is like we start at a point, some point in the space, and then move around along the gradient in order to find a minima, right? And if this space is a convex space, and if we move in descent steps, then most likely you're going to settle to that minima. And that minima will be nothing but the point where the error is minimum, and therefore that is the point where you have learned the optimum function, optimum h theta of x, right? Optimum hypothesis function, and that means your model is trained, right? So this is what the algorithm is. This algorithm is very simple. What we are going to do, we will start with some random values of these thetas. I hope you know the thetas are nothing but this model parameter, this coefficient, which are attached with each of these input variable. So when you are going to give the input variable, that is going to be known, that what is x1, what is x2, what is x3. What you need to know is like these thetas, right? So that you know the hypothesis function. So once you know the hypothesis function, that means you know all these thetas. And therefore, whenever you get this value x1, x2, I mean feature vector with a specific value, you put them and you get the value of h theta. That is the hypothesis function. So that means the predicted value can be obtained. That is what the model, once the thetas are settled, we can say that now we can compute for every input, we can compute this and we can generate that output. And that is what our prediction is. So how it is going to work, this descent algorithm, is we got this function, cost function, as the function of thetas, because you know that this is a function of theta. If you want to know, we got the cost function is this, which is a function of h theta of xi, and this h theta of xi is a function of theta. Therefore, this cost function is a function of theta, right? So the cost function is a function of theta. We start with some random, let's say, theta values in this convex space. This is your theta space, right? And wherever you start, you can start from here, you can start from here, you can start from here, because that is what the j theta is, that whole function. So randomly choosing value of theta will allow you to map somewhere in this convex space on this, let's say, curve or hyperspace if there are like multiple input variables, right? And what you do is like you update in increments. So you take the old value of theta and apply this updates. What is this? Alpha, which is like the learning rate, and the gradient, right? So this is the slope. This is the slope across on that point where you got initial value or that theta. The old value of theta and the slope computed at this theta, multiply by alpha, and then compute this value. You are going to like compute the new value. And interestingly, in this gradient descent, whether you start from this point or you start from this point, this value is going to, if you start from right hand side, you're going to get this side. If you start from left hand side, you're going to get this side. Because of this minus sign, right? You will see that if the gradient is positive, then this negative will remain. So this expression will, this negative will remain negative, right? That means theta will be, the new theta will be less than old theta, and therefore we will be moving this side, right? So value of theta is diminishing. And when the gradient is negative, this is gradient is negative this side, then negative will be positive, and then your theta will increase. So you will be moving from this side to this side along this cost function, right? And eventually at some point of time where you don't make any progress, I mean, this is the minimum. You have the test of minimum, you apply the test, and then you settle with this. And at this point of time, you got the j theta, the minimum value of j theta, right? And at this point, you know the thetas, right? You can put the thetas in h theta of x. What is h theta of x? Theta 0 plus theta 1 x1 plus theta 2 x2. This is simple or multiple linear regression rather, x3 and dot dot dot. All those input, I mean thetas, now we know in this theta space, all these value, now we know we have learned hypothesis. Right? So now how logistic regression is going to be different than linear regression? So I tell you there's just one difference. We are going to convert. See, the logistic regression, linear regression, if you have seen, right, that the value of h theta of x ranges from plus infinity to minus infinity because it is a real number, right? So it varies from from minus infinity to plus infinity. It can range anywhere, right? Let's say you want to predict the housing prices of some areas, right? That can be very positive numbers and it may range from small positive to large positive. It may not go negative, but then depending upon application to application, the real number scales range from here to here. So in principle, this h theta of x for regression problem can output values from minus infinity to plus infinity. But whereas in the logistic regression, because it's a classification problem that we are trying to solve, and let's start with a binary classification. Now you know the binary classification, you got two outcomes. Let's say yes or no, or 0 or 1, let's say, right? So you just have to output either 0 or 1, or high or low, yes or no. So you just have to output two values, not infinite many values, right? So there is, so logistic regression, which is kind of conversion of linear regression into logistic regression, is a conversion of that hypothesis function. If you can recall, h theta transpose x was the hypothesis function of linear regression. This was the hypothesis function, the term within this bracket was the hypothesis function of linear regression, and it varies from minus infinity to plus infinity. So what we do is like we put one more transformation here. So this is kind of g of h theta linear regression LR, let me write, of x. So whatever is the s theta of x, the function that you've seen, now we take a g of that, and this g is a sigmoid function, which is defined as g of z equal to 1 over 1 plus e to the power minus z. So this is going to be theta transpose x, right? So what is great about this function is that it maps all these values, right, as theta of x, which takes minus infinity to plus infinity, to 0 to 1. So you can be like having very negative values here, theta transpose s, which is like the hypothesis function of the linear regression of LR, linear regression, and logistic regression also LR, so don't get confused. So this space is a infinite many space, and what this s theta of x, what it does, it translates this into 0 to 1. So this is kind of one more transformation or translation of the computed value theta transpose s with the application of this sigmoid function, and it converts all these values minus infinity plus infinity to 0 to 1. So now we get the values between 0 and 1, not 0 or 1, which we want, but 0 to 1, any values. It can output obviously any real numbers also. So in fact, what it does is like from minus infinity to plus infinity, it has compressed that range to 0 to 1, right? Still, this is going to be real number, right? Between 0 to 1. Now we are going to put another trick here. We know that 0.5 is the middle point here. So we say that if the number generated, or the output generated is less than 0.5, we are going to output either 0, and if it is greater than or equal to the 0.5, then we are going to output 1. So we simply binarize this range from 0 to 1 is the output as 0 to 1. So 0 or 1. So we are going to output the number which output which are less than 0.5 as 0 and equal to or more than 0.5, because we have to take a call at 0.5 exactly. If it is 0.5, then either it should output as 0 or 1. So you may decide that right on one side, right? So we disambiguate and map this to a binary outcome, right? And another difference between logistic regression and linear regression is in the cost function, right? The cost function that you've seen in linear regression is a let's say linear function, right? S theta of x, not linear function, quadratic function, because the hypothesis function was linear function, but the j of theta, that is the cost function, was kind of squared functions, right? A parabolic, parabolic function, right? Which was convex, and therefore we were certain of that we will be getting a minima here, right? But unfortunately, this logistic regression function, the hypothesis function of g of like theta transpose x, theta transpose x is a convex function, but g of theta transpose makes it non-convex function, and therefore the cost function will also be kind of non-convex, right? So the idea here is to use a convex function, because ultimately we are going to use gradient descent algorithms the same way that we apply in linear regression. So we need a convex function. Cost function is like a convex function. So interestingly, this function, which is like two-part function, right, is a convex function. So when we combine these two parts into just one part, so this function, which is like logarithmic function, would turn out to be a convex function. And how it is going to help us? It is going to help us to provide the global minima, that one minima that the whole function, all cost function has, because we are going to apply the gradient descent again, and we are going to set down to those parameters, optimized parameter where the cost is minimum, right? So in either case, it is we use gradient descent algorithm, and do the cost minimization, and in either case, we will be getting the optimal solution. I can tell you, like logistic regression for regression problem, linear regression is one of the most efficient problem solving for regression classification task, and for classification for regression task, and for classification task, it is the logistic regression, one of the most optimum kind of algorithm, and typically people use it in IoT applications also. If it is like a regression problem to be solved, you may use a linear regression formulation and a regression problem to formulate it. And if you are formulating as a classification problem, then you will be using, you may use like logistic regression algorithm. And although the further fine tuning and those kind of things, you need to work it out in a sense, like if there are more number of parameters, input parameters, like let's say hundreds of input parameters or feature vector size is very large, and it will require a lot of computation. So you may like do a feature selection problem here, reduce the feature space into like a few number of important features, or do some kind of dimensional reduction technique so that to minimize your computation. Those kind of things you need to understand, learn that when you apply these algorithms to IoT kind of problems. And the binary classification problem can be converted into multi-class classification problem with one simple tweak. It's like that, which is called one versus all. So if you have, let's say, K class classification problem, right? In the classification problem, what we have just learned is like binary classification, yes or no, 0 or 1. But how to solve multi-class classification problems? So it's a very simple idea. What you do, you frame K binary classification problem. So you will be actually solving K binary classification problem by considering one class as, let's say, 1, and the all other instances of all other classes as zeros. So you got again binary classification problem here. So this become a binary classification problem, this become a binary classification problem, and this become a binary classification. So this has been a K3 class classification problem converted into 3 binary classification problem. And what do? You compute this predicted value of y hat over the ith instance. Here also for this classification, for this class, so you are going to get 3 yi's, 3 values of predicted values, and whichever is going to be the highest value, you are going to assign that class to the test instance, the instance that need to be classified. So I hope you understand that how multi-class classification problem can be solved the same way we solve binary classification problem. So in general, we can solve any problems. Now, there are many, as I said, many variations of many algorithms which falls under regression algorithm. Linear regression is one of them, and what we discuss is like multiple linear regression problem. Logistic regression we also discussed. So we discussed these two problems. Now there are decision tree related and variation of linear regression problem itself, and then support vector machine, which can be used for classification as well as regression, and the neural network solutions also for both formulating problem as a regression problem and classification problem. So it's a problem formulation, and then you can use it the respective algorithm in that formulation to solve address that problem. Now, how do you measure their performance? So, for example, regression algorithms, we measure their performance as mean square error or root mean square error or weighted MSE or mean absolute error or weighted MAE or MASE, like where we scaled up this absolute error by a baseline, right? So, and then there can be a measure like goodness of fit. So all these are because we got a real number to be predicted. So this real number and the error will also span across this real axis. So it can be a very large number. So how do you know that your algorithm is performing good? You can compare among algorithm whose error is less is performing better, right? Whose error is least, so that is performing the best, right? And those kind of things. Similarly, for the classification, we have some other evaluation criteria. One is like accuracy. We got this confusion matrix where we have got the binary classification outcome, and we predict positive to positive, negative to negative. So we got true positive, which is correct prediction. We predict true negative. So there are two classes, yes or no, and we say that one class yes correctly, so positive class, negative class yes correctly, and then we make two mistakes. So these mistakes are called, for example, type 1 error and type 2 error, right? And therefore accuracy is like correct classification TP plus TN, correct classification upon TP plus TN plus FP, false positive, plus FN, false negative, right? False positive means the class is negative, but you are saying falsely it's positive, and similarly for false negative, right? So it's the class is positive, but you're saying falsely it's as negative, right? So all those so this matrix is called confusion matrix, can be used to compute accuracy, precision, and recall, right? Sometimes accuracy may not be good measure. If in case of if the problem is of dealing with imbalanced data set, then we resort to precision or recall of the favored class, whichever class, or a harmonic mean of this precision and recall as F or F1 measure. Then we got another measures when we draw this performance, because there is a trade-off between recall and precision, and therefore two kind of measures. And if you try to improve recall, your precision is going to compromise. So there is kind of we plot them as those separate axes, and based on that plot, we compute the area under curve of that, which will give you the highest. So which algorithm has got highest area under curve, and then we have got, there are multi-class classification problem. We have a strategy of dealing with user classes as taking micro averages or macro averages. So these are the different ways of evaluating algorithms, classification algorithms. Just like I've said, F is a kind of weighted harmonic mean of precision and recall. And with this alpha factor, if we put alpha at 0.5 exactly, we give same weightage to precision and recall. We have a balance measure, which is called F1. F1 is computed. Now, if you compare some of the popular classifiers, for example, and as I said, logistic regression are among the first taste of the algorithm. And the rest of them, dysentery can also work fast, but for small data, as the data is increasing, it will become computational intensity. And that naive Bayes are also fast. So you are interested in probabilistic classification, kind of. So we got another option here. But neural network typically expensive, and deep neural network is even more expensive. And all those kind of nowadays, that large language model, then even more. So how they can be brought in and how they can be involved is interesting challenges are lying ahead. There are some open source ML tools, libraries available. I'm sure that it is going to be talked about by my colleagues in later sessions, how these tools can be used. So I'm leaving this part to elaborate and then having hands-on using these tools, these libraries, which are quite handy in terms of implementing these solutions. So coming back to, I'm trying. I will try to finish as soon as possible because I think the time is getting over. It's already over. So there are challenges here when we deal with problem solving using a traditional way, using machine learning, or we try to solve problems in IoT domain, right? So data keep arriving continuously and can be noisy or can have other characteristics which we don't expect of typical machine learning. So we have to deal with this situation, and you may have to decide very quickly, right? You got limited battery memory also, so you again you have to decide quickly, but then with another other set of constraints, right? So it's a kind of like you have to customize your machine learning ideas to meet these challenges, and still you will be able to solve these problems. The data is keep coming, so obviously you need to sample the data. I mean, you need to identify that how you are going to sample the data from the data which is continuously coming. Maybe you're defining time intervals of milliseconds or seconds or micro or minute even, depending upon the kind of applications that we call that window, and will compute different metric over that window, like average, variance, min, max, and all those kind of whichever you can figure out, which can be helpful in order to further. So we are computing data in windows, right? And you'll be comparing that data among the windows, and will be taking a call that if the data is had to have that kind of decisions, what decision need to be taken for that kind of data, right? And yes, it's a fast decision. We have to keep that honest. Many times, the solutions that we employ for IoT, right? The sensors, the data that we get from the sensors, and sensors changes, and then the technology getting and then outdated, or maybe data not getting reliable. So you need to be honest, just not that you have designed a machine learning algorithm, it is working perfectly all right, but it may misbehave, right? So you need to have a plan B always, all the time, right? To identify that if the machine learning solution is not providing the answers, or it's not behaving as expected, right? And your solution, ultimate solution, should not get influenced by non-performance of this machine learning solution or component. So maybe alternative components, and how do you combine them, right? In order to provide a satisfactory solution which will run continuously and will be able to handle and solve problems, right? Without making excuses, those kind of things. So you need to mix that, just not the machine learning solution, but other alternatives also, and combine them. Now, when you do that, right, maybe some part you decide locally which you can handle, and then maybe your solution is evolving, problem is evolving, so your solution should also evolve. Your data may drift, your patterns might change, so those kind of things happen. So this needs to be continuously improvised. Maybe you're doing this as the server, I mean, upgrading your models and then deploying them suitably at regular intervals to keep them relevant. And if that not work, maybe having other strategy which can work. So making your solution eventually this IoT working satisfactory all the time. There are architecture choices based on how much computations can be applied where, and how much you can afford. So that can be decided depending upon the kind of problem that we have, right? And there are, here on this slide, I've showing you certain working development track kind of problem solving implementations which you can use. Arduino, for example, this board, ESP32 or Raspberry Pi, P4W, and the whole stack, right? What other tools or libraries that you will be required to implement that kind of. So, but then each of these has limitations. That is what you need to know. So to summarize, what we did in this session is we introduced ourselves with the IoT problems and challenges here, and specifically how machine learning typically is, and how this need to be adapted if we intend to apply this machine learning techniques to solve problem, as it can be simply rule-based techniques, without applying machine learning, you can still implement IoT solution. So it's a question of that if this rule-based approach or machine learning approach, which one you are going to use, and how you will ensure that machine learning approach remain relevant throughout. It's just not that you've shown that it works, but it continue remain working for all time, right? So it's not a simple problem to solve, right? And with a lot of those kind of considerations, we have seen that the IoT system has these kind of characteristics, and challenges are there, and but solutions are also there. So I hope that the other sessions are going to cover the more implementation specific stuff, and you will be having hands-on on those kind of things, given that how we can apply machine learning to IoT, right? So I stop here. I can take a few questions if you have. Sorry, I could not take questions during this session, but
Sir, may I ask one question?
please, Manoj. Go ahead.
Sir, suppose if we are using data augmentation, in case if the sufficient data is not available,
Right.
so how it can impact the accuracy, and how the accuracy is reliable if we have generated the data using data augmentation?
So I mean that there always be a problem when you got a small data, and by augmenting techniques, there are many augmenting techniques.
Yes, yes.
Some are better than some others, but this provides a solution, but certainly kind of real life application where you are dealing with logistics, right? You need to have data which are more reliable rather than generating this. So I believe that what you're saying is like it's more of like a research oriented stuff, but not very useful in problem solving, because the data that you generate might not reflect the population, right? The right population. And if it doesn't reflect the population, it's not going to like help solving the problem in the most optimum or most rightful way. So what you're saying is fine. That's definitely a research dimension to this problem, that if you got a small data, how can you increase the size of the data and possibly remain relevant? But this is still to see that what kind of techniques can be adapted to what kind of scenarios. I mean, are suitable to what kind of scenarios. And there is no clear outcomes here that this particularly this data augmented technique might be suitable to some particular type of problem.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
So I think if there are no questions, I hope that this was you enjoyed the session. I am sure that this was an introductory session on machine learning. Many of you must have done courses on machine learning, so it may not be very novel in that sense. But even like revising your basic ideas, revising that, how do you formulate problem? What are the options you have? How can you experiment with? Now, one interesting question asked by Manoj, right? If we don't have much data, how do you still train a classifier and think that it can perform better, or it will be having a satisfactory solution? It's a challenge, right? It's a challenge. It remains a challenge.
Thank you so much, sir.
Yes.
Thank you, sir. It was really an informative and an insightful session. Thank you, sir, for joining with us. On behalf of the Cdgi family, I extend a warm and heartfelt gratitude for your time, sir. It was really pleasant hearing you, sir.
Thank you everybody for your patient hearing. Hope this is, I see this is a nicely poised and organized FDP. There's a lot of like contents are coming from from companies. So hopefully this should be a very learning sessions for participants.
Thank
Do
you, sir.
It was a wonderful session, sir.
stop. Chalo, let me stop and thank you.
Okay,
Thank you,
okay.
sir. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you, sir. For the next technical session, we have among us Dr. Vimal Bhatia, sir, who is currently working as a professor in the IIT Indore. He's an adjunct faculty at IIT Delhi and IIIT Delhi. He has received his PhD from Institute of Digital Communications from the University of Wittenberg, UK, in the year 2005. During his PhD, he has also received IEEE Fellowship for collaborating research at the Department of Systems and Computer Engineering, Carleton University, Canada, and is Young Faculty Research Fellow from MIT, Government of India. He has worked with various IT companies for over 11 years, both in India and UK. He has more than 420 peer-reviewed publications, has filed 16 patents. He has supervised over 27 awarded PhD theses. His research includes are in the broader areas of communication, machine and deep learning with applications to communication and photonics. He's a reviewer of IEEE, Elsevier, Willis, Spinger, and IET. He's currently senior member of IEEE, fellow IETE. He is also the general co-chair of IEEE ANTS 2018 and general vice chair of IEEE ANTS 2017. He's currently the member steering committee of IEEE ANTS. He has been mentioned among world's top 2% scientists by the Stanford University in 2021, 2022, and 2023. It's an honor to have you among us, sir. I would like to request Dr. Vimal Bhatia, sir, for the next technical session. Sir, please.
Hello. Yeah. Good evening, all. Can you hear me? Is
Yes, sir,
am I
it's
audible?
audible. Yes, sir, it's audible.
Okay. Okay. Thank you so much for inviting me over. No, there's some problem in the network, so I'm joining from my hotspot. So hopefully the network stays. So good evening, everyone, for being here available so late in the evening. So I'm going to share my slide deck. So first of all, yeah, I'd like to congratulate Cdgi. So we have been interacting with Cdgi for many years. Even I think it was nothing more than 7, 8 years with different management and teams. But we have been in touch for last few years, and we are on the same route as well to our work. So yeah, it's an institute which we know quite well at IIT Indore. There's a lot of interactions with Cdgi. So thank you so much, and very happy to see a lot of participants so late in the evening joining. So this topic today is, I'll say, a little bit unconventional in the sense that we are looking, and it is impacting all of us right now with the introduction of AI ML. So the way I have split my presentation is in multiple um, slide deck. The first one is will give you just a brief overview of what we do in our research group, where we use AI ML quite often in many different applications. Then we will look at how it can be leveraged for our research purposes even more as things are evolving. They're evolving very fast, so they can be very useful for us in our research. So let me first share the slide deck about our research group. And okay, let me make it full screen first, or can it make it? Okay, let me make it full screen first before I share, because sometimes it doesn't, slides don't change. Um, yeah, so this is one part. Make it full screen. Let me see if I make it full screen. And if I say share, yeah, I think now I'll make it full screen.
Yeah, sir, it's visible.
Yeah, so now it's in the full screen mode. And I'm changing the slide. So you can see the change slide.
Yeah, sir. It's working.
Okay. Okay, perfect. Perfect. So thanks for the introduction. So I'll not go much in detail, but basically, working at IIT Indore and adjunct faculty with IIT Delhi and Triple IT Delhi, and this CPS chair professor, and a former research director with Oulu University in Finland, and some of the editorial other responsibilities that we usually have for the research community as our group members. And I'm grateful to our research sponsors, largely MIT, Ministry of Electronics and Telecommunication and IT, Department of Science and Technology, now ANRF, SCRP, Science and Engineering Research Board, Ministry of Education, aka Finland, TFK Finland, UK, IERI, Indo-US Science Technology Forum, EU, and others. So I'll skip this slide because I guess you know where Indore is. And I think this is already covered in the introduction as well. So briefly, in our research group, we work on performance analysis of beyond 5G and 6G communications. We work on adaptive machine and deep learning algorithms for 6G and biological applications. We'll just touch base on um, what it is, what does it mean. If you are from ECE background, or let's say if you are curious, you have looked into the back of your specification for your Wi-Fi modems or your handsets in 4G or 5G, you might have come across OFDM or MIMO. We apply AI/ML there as well. Then is visible light communication, which is a different technology. I'll have one slide on it. So and there also we're applying AI/ML. Now going forward, we did one early work on um, optical networks. So that's both in the computer science, electrical engineering, both or ECE, they both work on it. So we worked on networks, looking at resilience of networks. And going forward, we're looking at quantum networks. And we are now part of the National Quantum Mission. So we, strategically are placed in Indore. So we are, somewhere in the middle, connecting, Chennai to IIT Madras, IIC Bangalore, IIT Hyderabad, and other institutes, and then the connection comes to IIT Indore, and from Indore we get connected to the north of the country to Delhi and above. So it is a large government initiative which will go for next 5 to 7, 8 years. Radar signal processing, okay, and this, and then we have research collaborations with researchers from across the world. Some of the outcomes are mentioned here, and it's already told as well. And some of our PhD students, they are now faculty members at IIT, NITs, triple ITs, or are doing postdoc abroad. And if let's say some of the students they are interested to pursue internship or their final thesis, so they can also get in touch. You can drop me email with a clear subject line, and we can have a discussion on it. So this is one application where AI/ML is being used. We have this region, in Indo region is very important, or soybean seed is very important for this region. So our work has been collaborative work with IET DAVB and the Soybean Research Center based again in Indore. All of us actually are now on the same Khandwa road. So we did joint work where we devised technique. So there were photonics techniques as well, where ITD chipped in, and we came in from signal processing and AI/ML algorithms, and we developed algorithms and techniques where we can identify if the seed is viable or not. So there's a lot of issues with the fake seeds being available in the market, and after 3 or 4 months, the farmer find out that the seed is fake. So it's become a larger issue recently. A lot of it coming in the news as well. So I mean, the objective here is to tell you that yeah, AI/ML, it's not only in one particular application. It is impacting all the other applications, including agriculture as well. This is one work which I mentioned about optical networks. So in network theory, in computer science courses as well, electrical engineering, we read about different types of protocols or TCP/IP protocols, um, or other networking protocol like SDH, ATM, and others which are popular. So here, if you look at we divide the network in two parts. So one is the access network, where we connect to the Wi-Fi or you're connected to the mobile tower. That's what we call as access network, ACCESS. And then there's a backbone network, which connects our data centers, our cities. In fact, it is and this is through a fiber optic cable. Why fiber optic? Because it can carry a lot of data. Simplistic terms, petabytes of data is very easy to be implemented. It can carry for very large distances with very low attenuation. The problem with Wi-Fi is, if you're using Wi-Fi at home, you come a little bit further away, the signal, goes down and you can't connect. Even within the same home, within your campus, your hostels, it has a limited range. Same thing for the cellular network as well. It has a limited range and limited bandwidth because again the channel is not so good because you're moving, at different parts of the building or going up and down or moving. Whereas for the optical network, it is largely static. Right? So once the network is laid, it doesn't move. So we don't move the data centers. We don't move the amplifiers that are there. And now we're getting fiber at home. We're getting fiber in the campus, right? So uh, those networks are fixed, but they give you very high data rates. So we have looked at ways where, let's say, there is a earthquake or there is some sabotage or one of the nodes goes down, then how can we route this? So here we initially used so way back in 2016, 2019, 2017 region, we used heuristic based algorithms, but now again we are using reinforcement learning based algorithms here, which are becoming very popular, which learn as the system goes. So I'm not sure if it was covered in the last session, but I've got a couple of slides I can cover if the time permits. Now going forward, we're looking at quantum era. Now, I think the next 10 years will be driven by quantum, and that will define a lot of our computing, how we do today. Um, And this is also largely coming from the fact that with the introduction of quantum, so nowadays, we hear about GPUs, right? So we have CPUs, now we have GPUs, which can compute very fast. But now, if we go, let's say, go forward, or even now, if you look at the quantum computers, they are running much faster than the current GPUs. There are some cloud-based services you can use just for testing or playing purposes. But when it comes to, let's say, commercial deployments or commercial applications, um, because they are very fast, they can break the security or the secure keys um, that are currently used in our telecom networks or in other algorithms. Like for example, let's say whenever you make a small payment or doing any banking transaction, the the information is encrypted using AES or different other algorithms, but AES is again very popular. So with the introduction of quantum computers, they can break these codes in real time. So the problem happens for defense and even for financial services. So if, let's say, you are making a payment to someone and someone can eavesdrop and see what you're trying to do, they can change the bits. Maybe 100 rupees became 1,000 or 1 lakh or 10,000. So and that's just happening in real time. So that's why we need to protect these networks by looking at the ways. So our focus has been on quantum networks. Now this figure shows there's a traditional data channel which is currently there, and PICH which is also currently there, public interaction channel. Now there's a new channel which is a quantum signal channel where we would change, exchange the quantum keys. Again, this is no longer a sci-fi concept. There are Indian companies, government as well as private, who have made transmitter receivers, and that's what this project is all about. Trying to integrate them and connecting the north and the south of the country in a secured network. These are some algorithms work we did, but here we used so our problem was mobile edge caching. So, for example, when you are using a mobile phone, you are, let's say, um, trying to do a large you know a bandwidth application. For example, let's say you want to watch a film on Netflix or a YouTube video, so it takes a while for the data to be fetched and played back. Now, what could be different ways to bring the content closer to you? So caching has been a concept in computer science for many years. On our computers, laptops, mobile phones, data is cached, but it is different than mobile edge caching, because in mobile case the users are moving, right, and the cache size is smaller, the battery size is smaller, so we need to have certain algorithms which can work faster. Here we looked into federated learning, so distributed learning. So we are learning on the fly, but we're doing distributed learning, and the focus is, yeah, we get some part of the content closer to the user. So I put that content in the small base station, and small base station, yeah, you can look at it as a smaller form of our mobile station, because moving from 5G onwards, we are having this multi-tier networks. So not only a single tower is serving, we have smaller ones as well. And 6G, again, I think is going to continue on the same philosophy as well. So these small base stations, they have smaller memory, smaller power, smaller compute. So we can somehow do a proactive, fetching of the content. Thus, again, using AI and ML algorithms, because again, the systems are now so complex. They help us out. Um, then this is just a small overview of visible light communication. So here also we are using AIML now. Now this is again a transition that has happened in technology in the last 10 years. We have been using incandescent bulbs and tube lights, right? Now over the last 10 years, we have moved away from it, and now we are now using the so we're now using our LED lighting, right? So LED lighting can be used for lighting purpose, uh, as well as for the communication. A very simple example of a LED-based communication system would be your remote controls. Yeah, so we have been using remote controls for our television DTH boxes. We have been using for connecting to our air conditioner, changing. So they are very low power or low data rate requirements, right? But if we can do larger data transmission, then we can use these different LEDs. Now these LEDs can work as different antennas, and they can switch on and off very fast. So once they switch on and off very fast, we can use them for data transmission. Now, here there are many practical challenges are there. There's a user who might be moving. Then there are system issues where the LED has the non-linearity, the components are not ideal. So we use machine learning and AI to improve on the throughput from these. Again, if it's IoT device, then we need to use tiny ML or some form of machine learning where there's not much compute required. Right, a lightweight version. But if you have a server somewhere, then you can of course use a larger data set and bigger compute algorithms. This again, I'm going to skip this part. And this is another figure that you will be looking at MBS and FBS mentioned. Now, this is showing that there is a multi-tier network now. And again, how I connect the user from either I connect to the femto base station or macro base station. For example, as femto could be your Wi-Fi type of base station, which has smaller coverage but very high bandwidth. Right, so when you connect to Wi-Fi, you get very high bandwidth as compared to cellular network. But there's a now if they were from the same vendor, let's say Airtel, Geo, or someone, so we can move and connect seamlessly between the two. Now there is another challenge which is coming because of the IoT era, is that we need to connect a lot of devices. In order to connect a lot of devices, they need to be connected in orthogonal way. So to make it simple, you might so let's say you have a common resource, but that resource is needs to be used efficiently. What we do is we give different users. So for example, you got 5 or 10 users. So for example, you are in a class, you are teaching them. You can be talking to each one of them at a very short period of time, but then very fast it's switching. So your voice is going to different students at the same time. But because you're giving each student a different time slot, they are not interfering with each other. So whatever you said to, let's say, student one is heard by student one only, and then the student two, student three, student four. This is a time slotting. We can do the same thing on the frequency case as well. We can give different frequency bands like we do for FM radio. When you hear, you tune to a different frequency because all the radio stations are transmitting at the same time, but at different frequencies, so they don't interfere with each other. That's the orthogonal way of allocation for multiple access. But in the future, because of again of the requirements of IoT devices, I think there's a study that about 10 to 12 times more devices are now communicating than the human beings. Right, as human beings also, we have a laptop, desktop, the mobile phone. Now we have smartwatches, wearables, so they're all communicating. So there are now more devices communicating than the human population itself. So they all need to be connected. So the only other option to go is non-orthogonal. Now that introduces, interference and other factors, which again can be fixed using AI and ML, efficient resource allocation and cancellation. So I'm going to skip the rest of the slide deck here, and then just show a last slide on the recent book that we came up with. It's a book with India and Finland together. We looked into ways of sustainable development for rural and remote communities. So here we looked at various technologies, including AI, ML, and different ways to connect the rural connectivities, our remote communities with the rest of the world. Now I'm going to change my slides. I'm going to stop these slides. I'm going to move to a different slide. In the meantime, if there's any question while I'm changing, so please feel free to ask while I change my slide deck. So I'm going to move to a set of slides which I know which is topical for today. I'm going to make it full screen. So I think it's Control L. Uh, no, okay. Yeah, it's a different tool. So let me see how can I make it full screen.
Sir, not visible.
Yeah, I'm just going to connect. I'm just looking how I can make it full screen. It used to be Control L on Adobe, but somehow it's not making it full screen.
Okay.
I don't know, they keep on changing the menus and stuff. So yeah, I can't see. So anyways, let me share what I have. I should be somewhere, right? What does it just fit into one? Let me see. Full screen, yeah, full screen, found it. Okay, so they've changed the shortcut, but yeah, I still could figure out. Okay, now I'm going to connect my set of slides. So let me know when you see the slide deck. You can see the set of slides. Hello. Hello. Am I audible? Manoj.
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Okay. Slides are visible now.
Yeah, visible. It's visible, sir.
Okay, perfect. So let's start. So topic for today was on AI. So we are using AI ML, and we can use it for. So I've basically put this presentation in three different subtopics. So one is a very important part of research is we
Sir, 1 minute. Will you please show the title slide?
okay.
Yeah. I just need to take one snapshot of this. Yeah.
Go
Thank you so
ahead.
much, sir. Thank you so much. You can go ahead.
Okay, thanks. So now in this presentation we are going to classify this into three different you know um, uh, applications. So I'll say first is literature discovery and research assistant tools. There are many tools available, scientific data computing, and then AI for writing content, code, and experimentation. Um, Now, as the word research, goes, so we search and we keep on searching, right? So it's a research. So we're going to search it many times, and that is a lifelong for us. So we keep on doing literature discovery. So there are many tools available now. In the olden days, some of us may know we used to go to a library. In fact, when I was doing my master's, I had to go to library, search for a journal. So you go to library, search where the journals are kept, look at which transaction, which journal you want to letter you want to look into. In the library, you go there. That particular volume may have been taken by someone and left somewhere in the large library, and you may not find it on the same day. You have to go again when they clear up, or and then you can find it. You will do a photocopy of it and then read it, and then you might have another reference in that paper which is interesting or leading to some discovery in the current paper that you are reading. So it was a very manual and painstaking task. Then we got access to these papers online. So research papers getting online was a new thing, which was available when I was starting to do my PhD. Because I was doing from abroad, they had the resources. Um, so we could do literature review also much faster than I was doing it during my masters. Because there it was all manual. You have to physically go to library, find the journal and the references within it, and then it was hard to find the how many citations there are, how many people are looking at it. Has there been any errata that came up after 6 months or a year? So it's very manual and painstaking. The same thing was with the review process as well. It was very long. But then over the in last 20 years, almost 20 years, the things have changed. Now let's look at some of the tools that are available. So now for the for this generation, you don't have to go through all this, I'll say hardship. It had its own, fun as well. But anyway, so now you can do all this, sitting on your system. So there's a um, thing called Semantic Scholar. It's a free AI-powered research tool that you can use. It can access over 200 million papers. So now you look at how much information access you have. It wasn't there earlier. We would read one paper, maybe 5 or 10 papers it has referred. We'll search those papers. We may or may not have access to it. Then our library will ask another central library or some other library that oh, are you subscribing to that journal that you have? So then they will send the hard copy of that journal or maybe photocopy of the 4 or 5 pages. So it was a very manual and long task, but now it's just click of a button. You have access to over 200 million papers across all the scientific disciplines. How it is able to do? Using machine learning, natural language processing, computer vision to extract semantic insights, figures, table, and summaries. It can identify different. So these are certain tools that you can make some notes. You can when you're doing research, you can use these tools to faster um find out. You can do uh, figures, tables, summaries. You can look at the citations for that paper, how much popular it is right now in that area, and stuff. So it has made it very easy and accessible. And this is what this presentation will tell you, that it is becoming easier to do literature discovery, and there are a lot of these assistant tools are available. Now, there's a core AI-powered features for researchers, which is a smart search and filter. So semantic search, um, understanding for queries. You can do advanced filtering like based on author, based on field, journal types, conferences, a date, either it's open access or not. Then paper insights and summaries you can get. You can get AI-generated one-liners for millions of papers. You can ask this paper directly. You can so AI can help you. Citation analysis you can do. How much that has been read by so many papers. You can look at the metrics. You can look at the author metrics, H index, in course. You can have personal research management, so you can have your own library and organization. So instead of going to a library, you can have your own library on your cloud-based systems. You can save, tag, organize papers for personal research. You can export a citation because we use BibTeX or other sources, so you can easily cite those papers. You can have a research dashboard and feeds. You can have personal recommendation. For example, you can get, let's say you're interested in certain area, you're doing research in it. As soon as a new um, paper comes out, be conference, archive, or full peer-reviewed paper, you can get alerts on your emails. So you email alert. So even Google Scholar does that for you. You can follow certain researchers. So as soon as something gets published, you have access to it. Right? Semantic reader, so it can um, uh, read the definition, structure, highlight goals, methods, and results. It can support deeper comprehension and more efficient. So it's not only one tool, there's many other tools available. Consensus is another tool. Consensus is an AI-powered academic search tool, again for literature survey and evidence synthesis. It is using GPT-4. So a lot of us are, getting familiar or using GPT for some other purposes. So this is consensus is a tool which is based on GPT, natural language processing, machine learning. It analyzes scholarly article, gives you a concise uh, summary. So you don't have to read through the full paper. You can get a summary, and then you can decide what you want to do next. Enable researchers to for quickly accessing expert knowledge, explore publication relevance, and study the rigor. It can interact with research findings in conversational format. So you can have a, so for example, if you use, I suppose most of us on this call, on this, course have used Google Scholar and ChatGPT in some form. So this is using ChatGPT based platform, and we can compare with Google Scholar support, so it can be interactive. So if you want to get deeper insights, you can ask the query, and then it will give you a response. So it is very conversational and easy how we do. You can do consensus metering meter. You can do evidence-based strength and consensus level study snapshots. It can give you a small snapshot of recency method, journal citation. Again, if you're interested, you can go deeper into it. Categorization of paper, so observational studies, how much rigor there is, or highly cited work. So based on certain criteria, you can. It has an interactive feature, so you can ask this paper. You can have a Q&A on it and structured insights beyond traditional keyword and searches. It can okay, it is already built on. So yeah, so or you can use Elicit. Elicit is another uh, again literature survey and research assistant tool. The purpose is it can speed up literature review, similar to others. It has access to about 125 million plus academic papers via Semantic Scholar and related databases. Interfaces with notebook style. So if you have used, you know, um, some coding you have done on cloud. So you can use notebook or some other, these cloud-based uh, services. So it can interface with those services. So you can get everything on the same platform. So for example, you can have Python and other tools on the same notebook. So similarly, Jupyter Notebook or other types. So it has this notebook style workspace, so where you can get all the information together. So key takeaways will be Elicit replaces time-consuming manual tasks for workflows. It's efficient for again research environments. You can find the papers. You can upload a PDF, and you want to, let's say, understand something. It can help you summarize concept, what is the theme methodology used. You can chat with the papers. If you have some queries, you can ask. Some of the queries are free, some you have to pay for. Then there is a Research Rabbit, another AI-based tool. So it can explore papers, authors, interconnect through dynamic. So sometimes, you'll find some authors, even like us, we work research teams across the world of country in certain themes or projects. So it can sort of make a visual map which can connect different authors. It's again free tool. You can again, I think you can. So it is designed to be like a Spotify for. So Spotify, if you have used for music and also it is something like that. Spotify for papers. It is being pushed as or marketed as. So personalized discovery, intelligent recommendation, network exploration, research we can do. Um, then there are so yeah, you can also do visual search, collection of smart recommendation based. So for example, um, you see we have seen the recommendation based systems. So in mobile caching, we worked on those, and in other ways, in our real life scenarios, when let's say you're watching content on YouTube or Netflix, it will tell you, okay, you may be interested in these. Similarly, when you're shopping at Flipkart, Amazons and all, they tell you, okay, if you bought this, so many users, but buyers, they bought this along with it. So it goes very well, or maybe it is something, which is a part of it. So for example, you're buying a device, they may say, okay, you buy a battery along with it, or a toy, we buy a battery along with it, or something like that. So um, those kind of recommendations can be done through this tool. Also tracking collaborations, it can check, how the collaborations are exploring for certain areas. Then there's another tool called SciSpace. So it's an integrated AI-powered research platform for students and researchers. Again, streamlines the full research cycles. So literature discovery writing and can help you in writing as well, citation and visualization. It was formerly known as Typeset, but now expanded with AI. So it is also AI-driven, all-in-one toolkit. So it combines the scientific writing, citation management, flag check. So this is very important. Um, and I'll say, all of us must be aware of this because, we can't simply take a text from our literature review and put in our text straight away. Um, there's a plagiarism a check that is done uh, with all the major journals and all. So you have to be very aware of this when you're doing research. So we tell our students as well. So whenever any conference journal, whatever it goes submitted, you have to do flag check. But many times, there's a temptation that you just copy paste the text and put into your own report or book or something. But that is classified as plagiarism, and certain is allowed. So different journals, different conferences, they have a different, some say 20%, 25%. And some of the tools, I think they're not very intelligent enough because sometimes they will, include the references or titles or, author, addresses and stuff also is counted. But that should not be in a way. And sometimes it does also take it from your own, as well. So as an author, if you, publish a lot of papers, it becomes a challenge at times because it's your own work, like a student's thesis. So student is says to publish one work, then they publish another, but they are not in the same uh, genre or same sort of problem that they are tackling. Yeah, they're getting more, complex, they're getting more, algorithms updated. But again, it's still similar. So some of these tools still, I guess, that's my view on it, that they're not still intelligent enough to figure these things out. So some of them are now, even some publishers are saying, yes, you can put your work on archive or archive, and we will discount that flag, because what we do in research these days, many times we'll upload one version, a version on archive or tech archive or some other open platforms, and when you submit your manuscript to IEEE, Elsevier, Stranger, wherever, or a conference as well, they will do a plaque check, and it will definitely show that 100% black, because it's your own. The same version has been submitted to places, but we'll put it in archive and tech archive, because we put your name on the idea as well. So that's where I think the tools needs to be more intelligent. Some of the publishers are saying that yes, it is not a problem. You do upload, it is good for dissemination, and they will discount, they will not count that as flag. But some still are not. I've seen in some conferences and all, they're still not open to having those, because there's somewhere, there'll be some line mentioned in terms and conditions, that should not be published anywhere or something like that. So, but things are evolving. Maybe in a few years as well, they will realize. But saying that plagiarism is a very important thing, you need to be aware. You should not do it knowingly or unknowingly. And if you have a student who's writing, a BTech report or MTech report or a PhD thesis, um, you need to do a plaque check. Now, plaque check is nowadays also telling you that this is from AI generated text. So that's another thing that you need to see, because see, at the end of the day, we rely on these tools that can help us, but they should not be uh, doing all our works. And what is the need for us to be there? And it is working on what is already existing. But as human beings, we have this power to, in the research area, to come up with something very new, which is not existing. I'm not sure how many of you had that experience, but I've seen with a GPT or cover later, they're still not there. You need to, they will give you some generic stuff, not specific to this, and that's where the human intelligence and knowledge and value lies. And they make a lot of mistakes as well now. So it's very common. So coming back to the thing, so yeah, SciSpace got about access to 100 million papers with NLP. We can do a interactive review, deep review. You can do. It can help you in writing and paraphrasing as well. Citation generator, it can also help. Again, AI detect. I can detect if the content is from generated from AI or from yourself. um, so that's something you have to be very, particular about. Uh, so for example, let's say even if you have to write, so I've seen some people use yeah even for writing a very simple two-liner or three-liner email. Uh, the problem there is, you are relying on a tool, and it is easy, it is tempting, but you are not learning how to do it. So tomorrow, if the tool does not exist or develops a glitch or whatever, and you have lost that skill to a tool, right? So that is something we have to, as I think, as society itself, and as a teachers, we have a larger role here, that we make them aware, students and other larger community, that these are tools. Yes, you use those tools, but they should not be dictating what you do. You are still the boss. You still, have your own intellect. You use it or develop it using these tools. Right? Then yeah, we can do a connected paper search as well. So it can do searches because some of the papers have a starting paper. As I said, even the students we'll have initially a conference and then the journal comes out, and then there's a new version of journal comes out, new algorithms comes out. So there is a full connection between the two. And there are other papers as well that we cite. Uh, which are also working in the similar area. So this all things we can get it done from these tools. Again, it is a visual intuitive point. So usually you can see how things are connected, and then based on certain metadata and abstract, you can go deeper into the papers. Now this completes our literature review aspect, where AI is a lot, and I think there's no harm in using that help because uh, manually is very difficult to read all the papers. But again, at least currently, there is a limitation of what the AI can do. It can search, but um, I think you have to read it by yourself and develop inferences because they are still, I think, not at that level. But I think, if you look at that's my perspective again, that if you look at common things, let's say in writing a letter or something, that's okay. But research is something what we do which is not existing at the moment, and I know something that AI has not seen and how it is able to do that part. So that's where our intellect and our discretion, our insights will get in. So now let's look at some tools. So for example, you have now done the literature survey. Now you want to do your own research. That's where these tools help you. So MATLAB is one tool that helps you. It's a very high level programming language. Some of you might already be using it. It is widely used for engineering, science, and applied mathematics type of research. Key strength integrates computation. Visualization is very powerful here. You can do 3D visualization as well, and just click of a button. Uh, it helps you understand a lot of the concepts in optimization, machine learning. um, you can integrate it with different things as well. So it is very popular in academia industry for prototyping and publication quality improvement. Mathematical modeling, so matrix operation, that's what the full form is. Anyway, you can do symbolic maths, you can do optimization, differential equation, data analysis, visualization, you can import, clean, analyze the data. Simulation and prototyping you can do very quickly. That hence it is very much used in academia and also in industry for R&D purposes, prototyping. Toolboxes, many toolboxes are there. And the good part is because it is from a company, it is standardized. So for example, if I'm using a 5G or some of these toolboxes, so I know that whatever they are providing me, it is compliant with the standard. So it's not, you know, so I'm not, anti open source, but then the validation part is very important. So who is validating and saying that yes, it is compliant to a particular standard or not? So here there's a company which is doing it. Similarly, Keysight and other technology companies are also there. So in each of these areas where there's a compliance needed, that's where the role of a company becomes very important. Um, So it is, again, yeah, used in engineering technology for control system, wireless, robotics, power system, and many others. In chemistry, physics, maths, it is being used for climate modeling as well. Data science and AI, so machine learning, deep learning, predictor you can do. You can also do, so you can integrate this with Python, C++. You can also do hardware experiments. So for our example, we are saying we can integrate our software-defined radio. So I can transmit any different type of waveform. I can receive it and I can decode it. So it is another advantage that you get by using MATLAB. Now Python is another tool that has come up, right? So it's a high level again open source programming language, very popular with academic. I think it's the most popular language in the world at the moment. Um, it's simple, flexible, and there's a vast ecosystem available. Again, it's being open source, a lot of libraries are available. You can use them. Key strength, easy to learn. Syntax is easy, very large active community in any area that you want to go in, you'll find some communities there which you can bank on. Cross-platform compatibility, again, it integrates with C, C++, R, MATLAB, and other cloud-based services. Now, for data handling, if you are familiar with Python, you may already know, but if you're not, then you can take notes. So NumPy we can use for numerical computation. Pandas we can use for structured data sets. Statistical and advanced analysis, we can use SciPy for scientific computation. Stats model for econometrics and hypothesis testing. For visualization, we can use Matplotlib, Seaborn for publication quality plots. So there's a lot of libraries available, and then because it's open source, you can create your own libraries, yeah, as well. If let's say something is not available or is not appealing, you can go in, change that in a library file or create your own library file and link it because the source code things are openly available. It has a lot of machine learning libraries as well. Scikit-learn is very popular. So TensorFlow, PyTorch for deep learning and AI. You can use for NLP, image recognition predictor. There's a lot of resources already available for Python, and it can again be integrated with Jupyter Notebook for live coding, documentation, and sharing. So you can have this collaborative work going on with GitHub or even Jupyter Notebook, where you have let's say one let's during summer holidays or others project work or even project work, one student is in one hostel, another hostel, and they are feeling lazy to go come out of their room. They can do collaborative coding together. So, or in different homes, you are in different places, or during summer, you are in different places. So you can do code changes in the same file collaboratively. Right. And that's what is available through Jupyter Notebook and GitHub, and all you can do version controlling and team collaboration. Then the other platforms like Google Colab, AWS, again for scalable. So these are some of these are free, open source. Some you have to pay after a certain number you touch. For scientific publishing, yeah, you can use LaTeX, so it does integrate with LaTeX as well. These different parsers for Python they are. And you can run a particular part of the code. You can see what outcome you're getting. You can rerun it after changing some parameter, just like in MATLAB. So it is helpful for data collection, publication efficiency, transparency, and global collaboration. Certain libraries have already covered. They form the backbone of our research workflow. So research, here is largely also computing based for computer science, ECE, or even chemical or mechanical, but mostly from the compute side. So some of these libraries, so NumPy, we can use for multidimensional data storage, for linear Fourier transform, random signal generation, for testing our algorithms. We can use for image signal processing, mathematical modeling, basic machine learning, and pre-processing techniques. So NumPy can be used. Pandas can be used for data analysis and management. So we can use Pandas for data frames, for handling tabular data, cleaning the data, reshaping, time series analysis. So these are already available. Application would be in social science surveys, experimental database, genomic, biomedical, financial, and economic modeling. SciPy is an advanced scientific computing available in Python. So we can do optimization, interpolation, integration, linear algebra, statistics. Um, there are specialized modules for physics, biology, engineering, research. Integrates with NumPy. Can be used for static hypothesis testing, for signal filtering, image reconstruction, numerical solution for equations. Scikit-learn is again open source machine learning library in Python. It is using NumPy and built on Matplot. It is built on those, so it makes your life easier. Provides tool for classification, regression, clustering. So if you have done a course on machine learning or got introduced, so you might have come across classification, regression, clustering. So those all you can do using Scikit. Why researchers using? Because very simple to use. Efficient implementation, again, is license free. BSD widely used for in academia and industry. So what the way we start with, we will do data preparation. We split the data in training and testing or cross validation, and then model selection. You can train the model. You can change the parameters. Prediction and evaluation can be done for different accuracy, F1, RMSE, and different other parameters. Hyperparameter tuning can be done because these you see the machine learning or AI/ML algorithms, they are very sensitive to hyperparameter tuning. Um, we and others as well in the world have come up with certain techniques for making it hyperparameter free, but still there's a lot of research that needs to be done. So, but here you can use this scikit as a platform to do, or as a library to do hyperparameter tuning as well. Different pipelines, and we do can assembling, uh, dimensionality reduction using PCA or other algorithms, integration well with Jupyter Notebook, Pandas, visualization tools. Application again, biomedical research, social science for text mining, survey, clustering, sentimental analysis, engineering and physics, physical sciences we use for predictive modeling, anomaly detection, simulations, so predictive modeling, it's used even in mechanical engineering and others as well. As you want to find out if a vehicle or something is going to break down, so anomaly detection very much for cybersecurity and other applications. We use economics and finance for risk modeling, stock pricing. Again, a lot of it is now based on algo based trading is done. Customer segmentation based on their usage. So we can use these libraries together. And there are many of them are free, but sometimes when you have to scale up, then you may have to go for um, a version that you can purchase, and you have some support available, because again your job may not be to look at the library itself, but to use that library for your own research. Um, yeah, so I can maybe skip this part. Use case again, computer vision, NLP, time series analysis, scientific drug discovery as well. Um, we can use for model tuning as already covered, yeah, scalable research. So here we can, so now, nowadays you don't even need to purchase large GPUs or TPUs. You can always use a cloud version. You can take some licensing for it and then pay for it, and you can scale your research using this distributed learning platform. Um, Again, there are libraries available for different transformers, GANs, or reinforcement learning type of algorithms as well. So PyTorch, Keras, TensorFlow, they are foundational deep learning frameworks that derive reproducibility, scalability, and impactful AI-based research. There's another tool called Mathematica. So we have covered Python, Mathematica, specific for um, computational based research or numerical, where a lot of maths is involved. So developed by Wolfram Research for mathematics, powerful tool. Again, there's a company behind it, so you can rely on this. You have support system available. So it combines symbolic mathematics, numerical computation, programming, and visualization, widely used by academia, industry, and for scientific research. Provides again notebook type of environment, so it is integrates code, graphics, and again different research workflows. It is again, I said, primarily used for data handling or mathematical um, research. So it has symbolic computation, doesn't integrate with the hardware such. So we can't use it for combining with, let's say, an IoT based system or using this, but it is largely once data is collected, then what you want to do with it. You want to solve calculus, you want to do integrals, differentials. So this Mathematica will help you. Numerical analysis, it can do very high precision, very high optimization. So that's why, I mean, this is not a new tool. It has been there for a few decades. It has evolved as well as like MATLAB and all, but still very, very popular. Even, despite some Python and so many free tools available, these are still very important tools, very reliable and trusted. Data science tools for you can do import, process, analyze structured or unstructured data. You can do visualization. You can do some programming and automation as well. Um, Again, used for partial differential equations, symbolic derivation. In engineering, we'll use for control, signal image processing. We use it as well for our mathematical analysis. Many times we have to solve these equations which are difficult, we can't find an integral for it. So we use Mathematica at times, so it can maybe give us some other form, which is a closed form, so I can simply put a value and get the results. Instead of solving a full integral form. So we also use it quite often in our research as well, but it can also be used for machine learning, predictive analysis, statistical modeling, also in education for teaching in different courses. Benefits for researcher, again, a unified platform, single environment for theory, computation, and visualization. Reproducibility is again like a notebook type of platform, transparent and shareable results. Efficiency, because it helps in prototyping, analysis, and scientific publication. Cross-disciplinary we can use for economics, engineering, and others as well. Integrates well with the exist. So Mathematica we can use from MATLAB as well. So it is integrated with different platforms. So this now completes the second part of our this FDP today. So first part was about literature review. Second was, okay, we have done the literature review. Now we want to do something um, with the some mathematical modeling or having a new algorithm you want to test it. So these are certain tools like Python, MATLAB, um, or Mathematica you can use. Now we'll look at tools for content writing. Maybe it can help you in some coding and experimentation automation tools. Largely based on ChatGPT, GPT-4, GPT-5 platforms. So this is the third part or the last part of our course FTP today. So AI it uses ChatGPT, based on AI uses LLMs, so large language models become very powerful tool for scientific research and other things as well. They in fact people are using it for medicine and other things too, with a caution. Even in there has been cases where people are and it now gives you a warning that the medical advice you can't rely on. Then there is even on the financial, somebody, let's say, okay, ChatGPT knows everything, let me find out if tomorrow what will be the stock price for something so I can do some trading. So again, that's where also there are no warnings that come that you should not use it for these purposes. So for our research we can use it for smaller part, and then whatever output comes we can always update it. So ChatGPT, GPT-4, GPT-5 platforms by OpenAI are very advanced for data interpretation, hypothesis testing, coding, and automation. So ChatGPT released in 2022 is conversational AI. So some of you might have used it. So you can ask a question. It is, if you want to do deep data analysis, you can always tell it, guide it to do it. Chat GPT-4 is based on the previous platform. So it's a multimodal model capable of processing text and images, enhancing reasoning, data analysis, and complex research workflows. ChatGPT-5, the latest version, designed for expert level reasoning, adaptive learning. It can do code generation. In fact, previous versions could also do code generation, but then it has been improved in the version 5. Pushes research productivity and innovative boundaries. So let's say I have some hypothesis I want to try and test. So I can quickly go and find some way to do some way, go to ChatGPT and get a step up. So I can do it very fast. Then I can always customize it for my problem. So these tools enable data efficiency, foster collaboration, ensures reproducibility, and accelerate scientific discoveries. And that's where so it is. So we don't have to be, I'll say, afraid or reticent of these tools. We use them as tools to improve our efficiency, right? It can help you in literature review and knowledge extraction like the previous tools. So they're large, based on LLMs. It can summarize research papers, extract key findings, methodologies, conclusion, aiding research and quickly identifying the relevant. So you can identify the research gaps quickly. Semantic search and contextuals, you can quickly check as well that your hypothesis is fine or not. So you don't spend let's say a few months into a certain research topic and somebody else find out has already done it or it's not viable. So some of these initial testing you can do. It can do data cleaning, pre-processing. So AI can assess missing data, uh, correcting errors, preparing data set for analysis. So this again, I listened to the previous speaker. So when we do this, we have to be very, very careful because you are augmenting the data, but you need to know which part and where it is being augmented and what is the impact of that augmentation. So don't use it blindly. That's my suggestion would be. So you see, for example, if you have a application which is not so critical, I'll say, for example, let's say um, you're doing some image processing, trying to identify different animals in it. Um, if let's say you augment data, and for example, it comes very close to a certain, let's say two animals are very close to each other, like like a gorilla or a monkey or something. So you may even say, okay, it is still okay, or maybe colors, magenta or light magenta, dark magenta, it is coming quite close. So that's where it's okay, even if it makes an error. But for example, if we use blindly this or augmentation for something like a medical data, or let's say, for example, like a financial data, or for defense or something. So that's where we are risking because that thing has not been given by the cyber physical system. It is something that we have generated by ourselves for learning our algorithms. That is fine. So, of course, well, I give you one example. We use it. We were doing pothole detection. So we developed a cyber physical system. I mounted on my vehicle. We did some pothole detection in near our campus. We collected the images, created our own database. We cleaned the images, labeled the data, modeled trained our system. When initially we were getting 80-90% accuracy. Models came, we started to use them, and we got up to 100%. That's where data augmentation and things were used for. So for us, collecting data becomes very difficult because you go out, put your vehicle in, maybe it's raining or sunshine. So those artifacts can be added, or different, shades. It is, sunshine or cloudy at some times. So these are happening in the physical world. But for us to test all of those or collect that all the info in images, it becomes difficult. In those scenarios, of course, this tools will help us in data augmentation, but other places you have to be careful in certain things, right? And that's where the expert, or the domain knowledge expert comes in. So you can discuss with the faculty members, or they can just look at research papers and then come on. So, but however, going back to it, the these are useful tools. So multimodal data integration can be done. It's done in ChatGPT 4 that can be used for ChatGPT 5. GPT 5 we can use data sources, different uncertainty analysis recommendation can be done. It can also help you in drafting assistance. So it can help you in let's say defining some arguments, or maybe writing an abstract introduction. But as I know, these are different tools that will help you. But when you do a plaque check, it may come up with saying that no, it is actually AI generated, it's not done by a human being. So you have to be careful, use them as tools, but you do it yourself. You apply your own intellect and format or visualize things the way it is done. Formatting and referencing can be done. For this is very good, I'll say. Peer review support can check summary, logical errors, and constructive feedback can be given. Interdisciplinary collaboration, so translating some jargon. So that is also important. For example, you may have some um, people from, let's say, from mechanical engineering and electrical engineering wanted to work together, but they have different definition or understanding of certain words in different ways. So this can help us in communicate with each other and tell what these terms actually mean, or explaining some of the concepts. When, let's say, tomorrow I'm working with someone from biology, and that's not my area of research, or even so then I can quickly do some reading about it, and then go and um, discuss in a more informed way. You can do code generation as well. It can help you in generating some research code, some libraries, troubleshooting scripts. It can help you. Workflow automation. Then in GPT-5, there's a tool called Few Short Learning. We have not used it, but let's see how good it is. Integration with again with Noteboard, API, and other platforms. Then there is other tools like Perplexity, which is parallel to GPT. It's again based on AI-based tools. Some of you might have used it. I think it is now being given as free for 1 year for Airtel customers or something. So it's a stiff competition. So Perplexity is available as a professional version for you if you're an Airtel customer. There might be other as well. I don't know of, but yeah, they may be. So it is also helpful in generating content, developing code, automating experiments with the speed. Key features include it provides more accurate context generation, supports coding tasks and algorithm design, streamlines experimental processing. Also, it can help you similar to GPT-5. It can help you in content development, code assistance, data interpretation, enhances research productivity, improves accuracy, support development cycles. We can also do some experimental of automation, so it can simplify data collection, simulation, collaborative work, reproducibility, very important in our research. Um, it can save time, improve innovation and deeper insights. Then there's another popular platform called DeepSeek. So DeepSeek and GPT, they had this and Perplexity. They're like the three different giants working. And there are others as well, but these are more popular ones. That's why we've chosen them for the course today. So DeepSeek is again advanced AI platform. It is actually using low cost compute, but a lot of those to give you the similar capabilities as GPT. Core competencies: content creation, editing for research papers, reports, grant proposal, code generation, debugging, optimize, similar things as GPT. Experiment automation for hypothesis testing, simulation setups, and stuff. Um, Enhances productivity, efficiency. Again, supports reproducibility, bridges gap between complex algorithm and domain expertise. Also can be used for writing. It can help you in grammar checking, clarity enhancement, reference management, use cases for manuscript writing, technical reports, set proposal, help you in conference presentation and grant applications as well. So you can use it actually for presentation making too. Um, it can also do code generation again in Python or MATLAB. Debugging. It can help you with, let's say you're stuck with your code. Integration with tools like Jupyter Notebook, Google Colab. Different use case for statistical and machine learning pipelines, bioinformatics, and other similar to again, GPT as well. But they all have certain specifics. Some of the features again are free, some are not. Similar thing, but again, um, it might be good in a certain use case. It may not be for others. That also I have also uh, seen a difference between DeepSeek and Perplexity and Chat GPT as well for certain things. So there are still differences among how they interpret, although they are all using AI, right? But the way the models are designed, the how much database access they have, how quickly they can come up with. So that's all makes a difference. Maybe they are not fine-tuned for certain application, maybe not for others. So you have to, be aware and be cognizant of. And as a subject matter expert, you can then figure out from your experience. You can figure out that how good or bad their estimations are. But again, this can be DeepSeek can also be used for drug discovery, experimental modeling, physics experiments can be done. And then this is a different tool, which is many of us use it. Maybe you're also using it. It's called GitHub. GitHub we use for version control, code sharing. So I added it here because it also has AI powered capabilities now. It can help you in Copilot type of things. It can help you in writing code. It can enhance your reproducibility and automating the workflows. Integrate seamlessly with the environments and cloud-based services. Provides automation, security, structured knowledge sharing, and accelerates the research outcomes. Um, it can also help in a code generation, documentation. You can have a README file, API documents for collaborative, between different researchers across the world. You're working on the same piece of code or same branch. You can always go back if, let's say, you're making some changes to the code. It is not working, but previously it was working. So you can always go back. It has this version control. That's why it became very, very popular. But now it has also integrated AI into it. The use cases for writing scripts for simulation, drafting research papers, protocols. Version control is very important tool that thing that it provides. Um, Otherwise, automation, continuous integration, and again used for bioinformatics and other type of research. Overleaf is another tool that we commonly use. This is again very important. If you're not using it right now, you may be using it in the future. We are using it very often. We have teams which are working in different locations, geographical locations as well. So Overleaf becomes very easy tool for LaTeX. We do a lot of drafting, formatting. We do it in LaTeX. It again has got a plugin. It can help you in code generation. So LaTeX initially, go back 20 years back, it was difficult to get used to or write it. To again, editors were not very good. Configuring it was another challenge. Over the years, it has become very easy now. There's a cloud base, so you don't have to really worry because a lot of these publishers, IEEE, Elsevier, Springer, they all have different formats. You have to write a thesis report, so you can use LaTeX, a very powerful tool for writing. Writing and editing also is not for no code generation, sir, but for writing for version control, for writing a research paper, writing thesis, BTP reports, and changing formatting is very easy as we know for LaTeX. But with Overleaf, it becomes much more easier. You can have your own class files added, and there's a lot of support already available. So you don't have to have Linux or Windows uh, environment setup for writing a LaTeX document. So now you can do everything on the cloud using Overleaf. And I think for 2 users, it is freely available. If you want to have more than 2 users, then you have to purchase a license for it. So very useful for citation management, referencing, writing journal papers, conferences, procedure, technical reports, because that's what we use. In fact, this presentation that I'm doing right now, it is done on Overleaf. External login template, collaborative versions, so use cases you can do. Then Grammarly is another tool which some of us would have used. I just wanted to cover it for completion purpose. Um, as another tool that again used for research purposes. It can help you in punctuation, fixing the grammar, for plagiarism detection as well. It can help you. Important for so ensures error-free writing, improves communication of ideas, facilitates in this. Things again, but and very useful for non-native English speakers. In India, still okay, but in some countries, English is still not the most popular, language for teaching and writing. So it becomes a challenge. So they use this quite often for improving the language style. Then there again Quillbot, um, which can be used for again English, paraphrasing of sentences, integration of such it can enhance the way the things are presented and written. Uh, Gemini AI again, and so I'm just quickly covering some of these. You can note it down. You can go back and just check which tool fits your requirement. So Gemini AI is again a platform for writing content, coding solution, and automation from different vendors, different powers that they have. So that's all. Yeah, wanted to cover. I think we are roughly on time here, and we have some time for probably question and answers. Is that okay, Professor Manoj? Is that okay?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I thought it's very late for you,
No,
your
no,
team
sir.
as well.
No, no, sir. The
Uh,
session is going very well. You
so
can.
any questions or things people want to ask, we can do that. I mean,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
have a
sir.
slide deck on AI ML, but that may take quite a while. Um, yeah, if you want, I can give a small, 5-10 minutes overview of AI ML.
Yes, yes, sir. You can continue.
I can continue. Okay. Okay. So let me bring those slides up. So I'm just going to connect. So I'm not going to take too much time, but just gives you an overview on which all these tools are designed. What we have covered today for writing, for searching, for helping in writing the code. So they're all based on AI ML based tools. So you can, I hope you can see the next slide deck. So my slides are visible. The overview of AI, machine
Yes, sir,
learning, deep
visible,
learning. Yeah.
visible.
Yeah. So yeah. I think over the next few days also you may come up with this slides, very common one. So we have AI, which is a study of pattern recognition, mimicking the human behavior. So it can help you in thinking or not, help with writing some code or understanding something. So it can help you, or it is built in a way so that it can mimic the human intelligence. Right? And machine learning is a subset of AI. It's a simple approach to achieve AI. It was we had neural networks and they have been enhanced further. For this, you can use machine learning as a service as well. AML are interchangeably be used because what we use um, for AI is we use the numeric part of it as engineers and scientists. So um, that's where we use AI ML very interchangeable because there's again they are based on numerical based uh, work. So that's why it's very interchangeably used. Then deep learning is again a subset of machine learning. Is much more powerful. Um, um, so even some of the people who came up with DL and ML early days, so they say there's no theoretical limit what it can do. Depends on how much data you feed in, how much compute you have, how much resources you can throw in. It can do almost everything that you as a human brain can think about. Um, Now, largely we have these algorithms like AI and then ML. We have decision tree, genetic algorithm, another reasoning one, supervised learning and unsupervised learning. And these are certain applications where it can be used. So ML can be used for deep learning, supervised, unsupervised, or reinforcement learning now. Um, NLP you can use for content extraction, classification. So NLP is also used in GPT other tools that we covered for research purposes, semantic and other are using this NLP based solution. Vision and image processing, speech to text to speech, again using AI. Goal of AI was to help in planning, learning, NLP, perception. Again, various people are using various platforms. So WhatsApp is using is Facebook, WeChat, um, very popular in China. Then we have Telegram and others. So they're all using AI. So Alexa, Google, Siri, all using AI. Again, used for automotive, healthcare, financial economics, and video games as well. Um, Advantages, yeah, it has chances of low error, easy to explore space and find the solution. Again, smartphones are using AI as well now. It can be used in time-consuming tasks to ease things. Algorithms can be used for doctors to assess patients, as happening already. Machines do not sleep, so they can be working all the time. There are issues about okay, the cost is there, decrease in demand for human labor. That's a challenge that we will see. We are already seeing it happen in some of the even large companies, are using less manpower. Even the companies like Microsoft, Google, Salesforce, and others, they are all doing it. So yeah, that's something we have to be, and AI can also be programmed to do something negative. So far, we cover as academics look at another positive side of things, but it can also be, programmed to do something negative. Ethics is another big challenge, which is being discussed in all the areas, AI, I'm seeing it in telecoms and other places as well. How the machine ethics will do this is pose a lot of challenges. For example, a simple thing, let's say you had written a code, yeah, you had things like, let's say, medical record or income records or something which are supposed to be confidential. If let's say they are leaked by AI itself without a human, push, because AI can think it has leaked it. So then who is responsible at that point? Right? Was it the person who wrote the algorithm? Is it the company which tested the algorithms? Is it someone who deployed it? Someone who is handling the data? So there's a lot of these ethical questions that are coming. Similar thing is coming with our autonomous vehicle as well. So we're saying driverless cars, right? Or driverless trucks and also driverless drones. So if a driverless thing bumps into another one, then who is responsible there? Is it, the company that made it? Is it the owner of it? So how? So currently, if there's a small accident or something, we know the driver, we look at the license number and license and also how these things are going to be figuring out. So there's a lot of discussion going on, both from, from engineering as well as from societal point of view as well, that what are the implications and how we manage this going forward. So it is something that we can't get away with. It is with us. We have to now find a way to manage it, right? Well, we can say something similar happened when the industrial revolution happened. So there has to be some way human beings will evolve and find some solution. Again, it cannot improve, if there's no experience as well. So that's the downside of AI. Again, I can skip this part. So this is something which is important. I saw the previous, speaker as well touch a little bit on it, but um, broadly, you can divide the machine learning algorithms into supervised and unsupervised learning. So you can have supervised learning, which has classification regression. So now there are various algorithms in it. You can take a screenshot if you want, or go to the website and find out. And then there's unsupervised learning. And a lot of these AI ML tools, they are using one of these. In some places, it has to use unsupervised because you just don't know what the data is thrown at you. So there you can use, Gaussian mixture, k-means, or other algorithms. Uh, Whereas other cases, if there's a classification, you can use SVM or nearest neighbor type algorithms or regression. You can use neural networks and others. So that's where the supervised learning is where there's some supervised, some data is already given to you to learn on it, to train the systems, and then you make inferences or prediction based on the learning that you have done. Unsupervised learning is where you don't know anything. The data is given to you and you're making some inferences from it. And then there is another class. I'm just quickly skipping some of because we don't have much time. But then there's another class called reinforcement learning. Um, Reinforcement learning is, you can say, in between supervised and unsupervised. In reinforcement learning, we learn the system initially using supervised, and then it learns as the system starts to evolve. So one example could be, let's say you have a small, let's say a robot, you put it into a maze, and it is trying to find a way out of it. So it will make some decision. It may be wrong. So then you penalize, you give negative points. It then maybe makes a right decision, goes into the next maze, and the next towards an exit. Then you give a positive or a brownie point to it, right? So that's how reinforcement learning works. It learns on the fly how the system is behaving, and the objective is yes over a few learnings of a few months, depending on application again, how much data is being thrown in, and how much dynamic the system is. It should be able to give you a very accurate prediction or the application it is designed for. So it should improve the algorithm as the time progresses. And I think that's what I wanted to cover. Okay, maybe deep learning is again, machine learning with more complexity, more number of layers. So it can do, for example, just very top level, that you have let's say a car, we did a feature extraction classification in machine learning. Now, if the car is, let's say, moved as human being, we can. So let's say if it is not coming straight to us, even if it's, on the horizontal or vertical axis, as a human being, we can say it is a car. Same thing deep learning can do because it has multiple layers. It learns, have a lot of these models already built in. It can also, but machine learning will probably fail because it was designed, let's say, only for identifying a car when it is coming towards you. And so that's where the deep learning comes in. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. So, Manoj, we can maybe open for question and answers if it's okay.
Yes, sir. Surely, surely. Participants, you can raise your questions, please.
Yeah, I actually have not seen any messages. Is there any messages on the chat box? I don't know. Yeah, you can unmute or maybe you can write in the chat box.
Yeah, sir. Participants can share their questions in chat box also. Please share if you want. Sir, one question was there in the chat box. Which tool is better for image extraction? I think you have.
Yeah, I'll say it's hard to say. There are many tools available.
Yeah.
I'll suggest, as many of them are freely available. So use 4, 5 of them. You can then figure out again. See, on one tool may be good for one type of image, may not be for the type of image as well. So we should not rely on one only. Try out a few, and many of these I know freely available. But will probably take a few seconds or something. Depends on the complexity of the image, and see which works fine. Um, for our case, no, we would generally, when we have, because we will propose some algorithms. So there we use MATLAB and have some algorithms built to do pre-processing, and also that's where the human intelligence comes in. So see, for an AI tool, it is just an image, but as a human being, you know which system it is coming from, what kind of, let's say, noises or other factors that might have impacted that image. So you can build and improve those, solutions that are available. You can write your own algorithms to improve it, and then use some of the, available tools.
Okay, sir. Thank you. One more question is there. Which tools are better for writing?
Writing, you see, we have been using LaTeX, from
LaTeX.
my, uh, PhD times. We've been using LaTeX, so I'll say, a die-hard fan of LaTeX.
Yeah.
It's very easy. If you not use it, I would still suggest, play with it. But now it's very easy. With all of it's very easy. Uh, you can, simply, so like in Word, very difficult to have the citation and the referencing done. Formatting again, it goes haywire. LaTeX is very easy. Just with one line change on the LaTeX code, you can make it double column, you can make it single column, you can have double spacing in it. So for thesis, for technical report, for research paper, it's very easy. Just change one line. That's it.
And I think, sir, in so many journals now it is compulsory to submit the LaTeX code, I think,
LaTeX,
for
yeah,
paper
yeah, yeah,
submission.
yeah.
So many journals, sir.
Exactly. So many journals. It's
I
very,
also
yeah,
worked
yeah, yeah.
in LaTeX so many times. Very easy
Yes,
to,
yes.
yeah.
Very easy. In fact, for my, even for BTech thesis, sometimes I tell them to. So this presentation is done in LaTeX as well.
Yeah.
So
So,
it's very, very easy.
one more question is there, sir. How much will it be ethical for using AI tools for research work?
Yeah. So see, it depends what you're using it for. So see, see, as faculty members or even as student also. So see, uh, plagiarism or cheating, which we call, when we are writing an exam and somebody copies it from somebody else, we call it as cheating. So here also in AI, I'll say, if you are copying blindly, then again, you're not using your own intellect. Um, and you may actually be giving the wrong answers too. So if let's say you're using it for searching, for let's say you are new to the area or in an area you want to know what is latest happening because you see again this is the global research. A lot of people are doing a lot of research across. So you can do this searching very easily. But when let's say you have to come up with your own solution for a problem, that's where the human intellect comes in, where the
Okay.
AI will falter. And if you let's say are using something done everything by AI, then you're just just copying pasting everything. So it's something like we the students is sitting just behind other and then just copying from the neighbor.
So one more
So it is
question.
ethical. You can use it. It is ethical as
It
you
is
can use
ethical.
it.
Yeah.
It is ethical. You can use it. Yeah.
So one more question is there regarding anomaly detection in network traffic using RNN and CNN autoencoder. How this autoencoding technique helps find anomaly detection?
You see, um, you can use any of these. You can use auto encoding, but again, you see, these are easy. So even when we started working on, we started to use easy auto encoder because it was easy. We just put it into the system and you get. But then, if you know more about the system, you should be able to come up with a better solution than auto encoder. Be it in terms of compute and the time it is taking, memory it is using. Because autoencoders again, they're like black box. You put it in, and it'll should solve all your problems. But then again, it is not designed for that problem. It is trying to solve all the problems. So I'll say that's where the human intellect or input will come in. That you try out for you understand your problem and see how you can improve using an autoencoder, use it in a better way, or use an alternative which can work better than the auto encoder technique.
Okay. So one more question is there. Which tool is used to check plagiarism? Means free. The question is for free, as Turnitin requires licensed version. So
Yeah, so we use Turnitin actually. Yeah, so we use actually Turnitin, and there's another one that is used, but actually we have access, so that's why I'm not using it. Um, there might be others. I also don't know, but because we are using Turnitin,
yeah, every one of
so you
us using
can,
Turnitin.
yeah,
Worldwide
yeah, yeah.
accepted it. It is worldwide accepted.
Worldwide accepted, and yeah, there's another one. I think I thought I authenticate. So I is small and authenticate. So authenticate and Turnitin. These are the two popular tools.
Okay.
Even the publishers are also using the same ones.
So authenticate also require, I think, license
I think
version.
it's also licensed. I think it's also licensed. Yeah, yeah,
सर
So
ड्रिल
one
बिट
more,
भी आप तो ऑफलाइन में चेक
yeah.
one more question is
Yeah.
that
So you'll have
how
to
to
use
how to reduce AI plagiarism?
simple. Don't use AI.
Oh, uh, mm,
And yeah, so it is, sometimes it is, unfair as well because you may be writing by yourself and sometimes it may pick it up.
yeah.
But as I said, these are not perfect systems.
Mm,
Um, in fact, one thing, if you have a couple of minutes, I can tell you one. I was looking for a flight from one place to another, um, and I think I was using DeepSeek or GPT or something, just just for fun. And they told, yeah, you can go from here, but then there was no flight available. I went to make my trip and those places because there was no direct flight available. But there used to be available at some point of time. I think that's what the systems learned, and then they gave me a solution. Yes, you can go. So you have to, be aware, and yeah, you can play with these things with these tools. Because I just wanted to check, if it has been restarted. But it was obviously not. But I just wanted to do a quick check. But these AI tools, they told me yes, there is a direct flight, but there was none.
oh, okay.
So yeah, so in the past it used to be maybe the systems were trained at that time, but they were not trained in that. No, it has been stopped for some time. So just be careful. Just be careful.
Uh, Thank you, sir. I hope we come to an end of the technical session too. It was wonderful hearing you, sir. On behalf of CDGI, we sincerely thank you for your insightful perspectives and enriching the session. I hope participants will carry back a lot many things from the session. And it was pleasure connecting with you, sir.
Thank you, and all the best to your team for the other sessions that you're going to do. And thanks for inviting me over, and all the participants for patiently listening and so late in the evening today.
Sir, we are really
Thank you,
grateful for
sir.
your time. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank
Thank you
you,
so
sir.
much. Yeah,
And
yeah. Namaskar. Thank you. Thanks.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thanks. Bye bye. 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 Bye.
respected participants, as we come to the end of today's both sessions, we will be connecting tomorrow once again at 6 p.m.
All the participants are kindly requested to fill up both the feedback forms of session 1 and session 2 that we have already shared in the chat box. So please, if anybody is still waiting, you can submit your form so that we will close the link.
सर एंड कर दो मीटिंग।
हाँ सर, कर सकते। अभी कितने पार्टिसिपेंट, मतलब आपने मीटिंग लिंक शेयर तो कर ही दिए सर, आई थिंक।
सर
ठीक है
वेट फॉर
सर।
5 मिनट्स। सर वेट फॉर 5 मिनट्स, पार्टिसिपेंट जो
हाँ,
है फीडबैक फॉर्म फिल कर दें।
यस सर, वी कैन वेट फॉर 5 मिनट्स।